dry. Little pond, big fish. One shot, don't miss. Heard it like this before. Back to the dance floor. Hey now, hey now. That's up too far. I go, I need you. Hey now, hey now. Hey now, hey now. I go, I need you. Hey now, hey now. I go, I need you. Hey now, hey now. That's up too far. Hey now, hey now. I go, need you. Hey now, that's up too far. Heard it like that before. I go do that, fine, do that. Talk about do that, fine, do that. I go do that, fine, do that. He do that, fine, do that. My grandma, you're already sat down on the bio. My grandma say you're alright. I set this town on fire. Talk about hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. I go one day. They say let me know, let me shine because I can do this all day.
Hey, you want to take a picture by the car?
No, thank you. Who you talking to? Cause I know it ain't me.
Tried it.
Oh, no, ma'am. No, sir. He's acting like we work for him. He ain't my boss. My own mama don't even try to tell me what to do anymore since I've been 15 years old. I've been paying my own bills and doing my own taxes. So you need to relax.
I don't
No, I don't.
work for you.
Work for you.
You seem to be very confused.
Think that you gon'
You not
You not.
the boss of me.
Awesome, man.
You seem to be very confused. If you think that you gon' tell me what to do, 'cause you're not. Oh baby boy, you must be so very confused. Everybody's freaking out 'cause something's wrong with you.
And there is something very wrong with you.
Something wrong with you. There is something very wrong with you.
Fast like lightning, harder than a hurricane. I bring the thunder, I'm dancing in the pouring rain. If you try to fight me, dishonor all your family name. Oh, I think they like me, world will never be the same. IQ billion, patience zero. Did you ever meet a modern day hero? Hold up, wait, whoa, put the flavor on it. Why you frontin' on me, boy? I'm your daddy favorite. Little bad boy, look at you now. King for a day, you are wearing the crown. King for a day, you are wearing the crown. You really might have made your daddy proud. You really might have made your daddy proud. Y'all never thought he would come back around. You never thought he would. Here it is though, having a cloud, blowing it now, building it up, just burning all down. Always a game, totally shameless. Pawns all fall down. Coming back for you. Coming back to you. I wrote this song in A minor. Get it? 'Cause tricks aren't for kids. Now bad boy, what you gon' do? Now bad boy, what you gon' do? Feds all out here looking for you. They looking for you, and they all fall. Huffing, they puffing, they blew it all now. Built it up to burn it down. And playing a game that you never could win. Pawns all fall. Promise you broke every lie that you spoke. Coming back for you. Time that you prayed, every move that you made. Coming back to you. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Nothing you can do about it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Nothing you can do about it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Nothing you can do about it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? That is always the question of the day. So I had a couple of days where I was feeling better, and now I'm feeling like maybe I've regressed. So I'm not feeling the greatest. That's what that means. But the show does go on. So bear with me as I even get ready for the day. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go straight to Inner City Press. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you to the well wishes. All right, let's see. Okay, so far the sources that I have up are my favorite source, and I think the most reliable and trustworthy source, Inner City Press. And then also, so far I have up NBC. We have CNN, Washington Post, The Independent, and The Mirror UK. They don't know how to spell defense over there, but we'll still read their updates. There's also the New York Post, and Fox News, but I didn't see those up yet this morning. Sometimes they come in a little later. Today is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, 9:11 a.m. We are on, what are we on? I don't even know anymore. Week 4 of the trial, week 4 of testimony. Yesterday, we finished up hearing or reading testimony from Mia. Mia, his pseudonym. This is somebody that was like, basically Mia is like kind of like Jane or whatever. Like that's not her real name. And please refrain from trying to discuss her real name in my chat. Thank you very much. But her testimony did end yesterday. She was on the stand forever. And in my opinion, Brian Steele is probably going to go to hell because of what he did to that poor girl on that stand. But I mean, I guess some might say he was just doing his job. I might respond back. Somebody who wants to do that as their job's going to hell. But, I digress. We also heard briefly yesterday for like 20 minutes from a person. I don't even remember her name at this point. Sylvia Oken, I think. She was pretty much just brought in to answer just a few questions about Diddy's hotel receipts. The government was saying, the feds, they're saying that they're going to be bringing in some hotel receipts and bills and room got ruined and stuff, but it's not specifically Diddy's name on a lot of these. Apparently they have some under Frank Black, but also some under Philip Pines. Now, this is interesting because this is a pseudonym that Diddy was using in hotel rooms, like pretending basically like the name Philip Pines was hooked up to Diddy's name in his hotel profile when he would stay at the Beverly Hills Hotel. They use this system called Opera. This isn't the first hotel person we've heard from. This isn't the first time we heard about Opera. We heard from that other guy, Zumo or whatever, Frederick Zumau or whatever. He was the L'Hermitage, however you even say that, girl. He was like the director of something over there, and he testified to some of the same things that, Diddy would have a different name, and often he would be charged extra for the damage he would do to the rooms. This was including baby oil damage. We heard again about that yesterday from this Sylvia Oken, who was at the time, at all times relevant. She was in charge of receipts, excuse me. She was in charge of celebrity booking, celebrity, like entertainment industry booking at the Beverly Hills Hotel. So she basically came in just for a few minutes yesterday after Mia was done. She apparently also had a flight to catch yesterday back to LA. She has stuff to do. Girl, I don't know what my hair has been doing. Okay, so now who we're expected to hear from today is somebody who we did hear from a little bit yesterday. And this was somebody who pled the fifth. This is the second person that we know of that was given this sort of like public immunity agreement where he won't be, if you do this, the two people that have done this, they're allegedly not supposed to be prosecuted for anything that they testify about, as long as they actually answer truthfully. Okay. So before the court starts, of course, each and every day, we have to get Diddy's lawyers pitching a fit about something. So I think that is what's also, was going on here this morning. So here we're on Inner City Press 20 minutes ago. The courtroom. All right. So the courtroom deputy 20 minutes ago says to the U.S. Marshals, can you please bring in Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs? And then the courtroom deputy pointed out that he believed that one of Diddy's lawyers is in the holding cell with Diddy. So that is something that we did know. I mean, I think they get there each and every day at like 7 or 7:30 in the morning. Diddy does, to talk to his lawyers or something. I mean, at least that's what the judge, what Agnifilo, I think, requested before. Okay, so the judge says, first, let's start with the compilation video. I got this letter. I don't know what the letter is. We can check out Pacer in a moment. I doubt the letter is on Pacer because, they've been just sending stuff in to the judge all secret. And then like way later, they'll finally update the public on it. Like we're freaking second-class citizens and not like this is like the people's court, but okay, whatever. And then the judge says, is Mr. Garcia competent to even testify about this video, given his position as the hotel's security supervisor? The assistant U.S. attorney then said, I have not really asking him about that aspect. So I don't know if that means I haven't really asked him. I have not planned on asking him. I haven't been asking him. I don't know what it means, because it just literally says, I have not really asking him. So I don't know what this means. The judge says we are not using the correct cell phone video, so this could get in under the rules. So what I'm able to piece together here, there's some disagreement between the parties. I don't know which side wants it in and which side wants it out, but there is some disagreement about the cell phone video. There's a version of this security camera video from the Intercontinental Hotel. This Eddy Garcia is supposedly a former security guard. Now, this guy was supposedly a supervisor, which has led some people in the public to speculate whether this might be the guy that actually did take the bribe from Diddy and get rid of the tapes. Because remember, the tapes were deleted, at least according to Israel Flores, who testified that he would have been working not as the supervisor, but just as like the security guard on shift that day. Today, he works as an LAPD police officer. I don't know if that's, the case here or not. However, they are still kind of going back and forth over which video whether the video is allowed to be shown under the rules of evidence or not. Seems like Diddy's team is trying to keep the video out. And this is their typical pattern. This is what we've seen in the past from them. Teeny Garagos, haven't heard from her in a while. She must have been on another trial or something. She said, Your Honor, the way the video is cut makes it appear that Diddy came right, that Diddy came right after Cassie. And she didn't. I think that's supposed to mean, and he didn't. The assistant U.S. attorney said, I also would like to address the timestamps because on security videos, they are routinely inaccurate. The judge said, okay, well, I hear the defense's concern. I hear Diddy and them's concern. So what I'm going to do, what about it that, the concerns could be allayed or diminished, I guess, by inserting breaks between the clips. That's true. But the assistant U.S. attorney said, okay, but since they will be testifying, it's going to be hard for them to also be editing clips at the same time. We don't think that this is misleading, Your Honor. We think we should be able to just play this. So what we're talking about is a video compilation. Why is there a video compilation? Well, many reasons, but one of the reasons is the cameras in the hotel were motion sensor cameras. So they were not actually running all the time, like recording all the time. But when there was motion in the hallway, then that's when the cameras would turn on. So they don't really have like hallway footage from not whenever there wasn't motion. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what they've done is they've put together a compilation. They've compiled all of the different clips of the relevant parts. There's also supposedly a cell phone video of it. And the judge is saying, look, why don't we pause in between each clip? That would allow, the jury to be able to take a break and a refresher between each thing. It'll be more close to like what happened in actual reality. But then the assistant U.S. attorney's like, that's cute and stuff, but we should have already had done like different clips or something because it's all as one compilation right now. We're not going to be able to be like editing clips while we're doing testimony with the people. The judge said, okay, I hear you. Seems like he's going to let it in. He's going to let in the video compilation. And he said, as a remedy for any possible prejudice or misleadingness, the defense, Diddy's team, can just cross-examine. They can bring this up on cross-examination. This can be one of the things they ask, how much time went between the scenes, etc. Teeny Garagos is like, it looks like Diddy just ran straight to after Cassie, but there was apparently a time elapse going on. Oh my God. One of Diddy's supporters is cutting up in the courtroom. Breaking news. Oh my Lord. Okay. Anyway, let's get to that though. There's another tweet in between. The assistant U.S. attorney said, given that Diddy played the video of Mia's birthday. Oh my gosh, y'all. This is, oh my God, I almost didn't even go live today. Like, I do not feel good. I don't know if y'all can tell or not, but I am not feeling the best. Thoughts and prayers for me and my health that I make it through this day on live stream. I'm blaming Diddy's demons for sure. I rebuke. Anyway, okay. So much stuff is going on right now, y'all. I'm trying to keep it together. Sorry, I am a little scatterbrained. I'm just trying to like focus in here. Given that the defense played the video of Mia's birthday, here's the assistant U.S. attorney, y'all. They got tricks up their sleeve. Given that the defense played a video of Mia's birthday, remember we've been arguing for that over that freaking video for the last 2 days. The one that was miraculously just leaked to social media. And then from social media, miraculously leaked to Diddy's lawyers at 1:00 in the morning, the very day before they wanted to use it in court. That one. So the feds are like, all right, we see that. Bet. Since they got to do that, Your Honor, we would like to introduce recording of Diddy's jail calls about organizing social media celebrations of his birthday, which he views as a way to change the narrative. Ooh. Now, I don't know if y'all, they trying to put in evidence for all to see and hear. Jail calls with Diddy organizing social media celebrations of his birthday, which he views as a way to change the narrative. So I think this is coming in because the government is trying to maybe start to imply. I mean, look, listen, there's no way they didn't notice. If we out here noticed that Diddy had this miraculous middle of the night, 1:00 in the morning video just pop up from social media, someone sent it to his lawyers. If we noticed how fishy and suspicious that was, well, I gotta imagine the government also noticed. Okay. So look at him. All right, since he wants to put birthday videos on, we want to put a little bit of evidence about birthday celebrations, actually, because we think it supports the RICO. Look at this. We want to introduce recording of jail calls or about Diddy, and it shows how he would encourage people to post on his birthday. Because here's Brian Steele yesterday and the day before. How could you possibly post this birthday message? How could you possibly post something like this? Well, Mia said it was because she was required to. And now the government wants to bring back more evidence. They want to bring in evidence to basically contradict or to rebut some of Brian's damage that he allegedly did to Mia on the stand to her credibility. Because if it can come in and show that even from jail, Diddy is trying to encourage other people to post stuff on social media to change the narrative, that shows that he could have been doing that all the way back with Mia. I think that's why they're trying to put it in. Get it in as evidence. Next tweet. There was some broadcasting of Mia's name, Your Honor. This is the feds. There was some broadcasting of Mia's name just outside the courthouse yesterday. And we would ask, Your Honor, and before she can even freaking finish what she's asking, Your Honor, somebody screams from inside the back of the courtroom. Y'all heard me say yesterday, I want to go to this courtroom because I think they got criminals and lunatics. They don't know how to act. And they need to keep it cute in that overflow room too, because that overflow room is really setting the pulse for how people are coming into this courtroom acting, I think. But there's all these, I got another video coming out today. I think it's going to be my third or fourth whole video on BJ Investigates that addresses some of this Diddy narrative manipulation, in my opinion. Now, the government's saying they got jail calls. They're wanting to put jail calls on the record today. Why? Because it shows how Diddy uses his birthday and social media posts about it to, quote, change the narrative. And how else might he be trying to change the narrative, Your Honor? By releasing videos of Mia, perhaps? Through CTS? Research or whatever? Who knows? I don't know. But look, there was someone, Your Honor, broadcasting Mia's name, her real name, just outside the courthouse yesterday. And we would ask, Your Honor, before she could even finish, from the back of the courtroom, someone screaming, Diddy! I can't do my impressions. They're coming after you. Those MFers. The judge said, security officers, please escort that person out of the courtroom. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. The video timestamps for this compilation video of the security footage, the judge asks, how long is it? If this video is 40 minutes, it would be a good 403 argument. So I don't know. This is interesting. There's a little bit of a conundrum going on, y'all. I'm not exactly sure because this is all I get is this right here, what the judge is asking, but he's like asking specifically how long is something. I don't know if he's saying how long is the time gap between the two clips or if if the whole entire video is 40 minutes, let me just refresh my recollection on what is Rule 403. More prejudicial than probative. Shout out to Oklahoma Outlaw. I think he's been in here every single day. Any tips he receives from anyone donating to his link, I have it linked down in the description box below, is going to go to help feed abandoned cats he cares for. That is so sweet. So shout out to the mods. We have the other mods stuff linked down in the description box. So we talking about Rule 403. Diddy and them are trying to keep it out on the Rule 403 grounds, which is excluding evidence, even if the evidence is relevant, because it is prejudicial or because it might confuse the jury on what really happened or on any of the issues. Oh, this is aggravating me. Okay. So the judge is saying in this tweet, if this is 40 minutes, again, I don't know what is 40 minutes. Would it be the time in between the two clips? Because that's what they're arguing about. That there's just all these little clips and they're all put together into one video as if they're all one, long, one continuous thing going on. But actually there's like a lot or some amount of time that has passed between the clips. So I don't know what the judge is saying exactly about how long is it 40 minutes, but he's saying if whatever it is 40 minutes, this would actually be a good 403 argument. It's like maybe it's confusing to the jury, maybe it's more prejudicial than probative, etc. Mark Agnifilo then goes, well, Your Honor, this could be an easy fix, but the witness on this matter is going to be on the stand in 2 hours. He's not going to have time to fix it. The judge says, where does this guy live? New York? The assistant U.S. attorney said, no, he lives in Florida. So again, why didn't Diddy bring this? Why didn't Diddy's team bring this issue up before right freaking now? They've known that the prosecutors were going to play this. Judge said, okay, I don't know what he decided. Hopefully we will get some more context whenever we're reading through the other sources. But the judge says finally, bring in the jury. All rise. The court is now in session before the Honorable Judge Aaron Subramanian, United States of America versus Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs in the Southern District of New York. Patrick Moynihan, courthouse, 9:30 a.m. All right. So the judge says, the judge says to the jury first, some housekeeping, that's what they call it, some housekeeping first, jury. There are some scheduling modifications. So what are the scheduling modifications? They include the following. On June 11th, they're not going to start until 1 p.m. That's in over a week or about a week. Also, June 5th, today's the 3rd, 4th, 5th. So Thursday. So Thursday court isn't going to start till 11 a.m. And then on June 20th, June 19th, we already know there's no court. That's Juneteenth. And then the day after Juneteenth, they're going to get out early that day too. They're going to stop at 1 p.m. All right. Then he says, prosecutors, call your next witness. So I think they're going to be calling Eddy Garcia. Okay, so we do get... Okay, Brian Steele. Y'all are going to get some more Brian Steele. Hold on. Let me just get my thoughts together. Sorry, I'm a little out of it. I just don't feel good. Okay, so the government calls Eddy Garcia. I want to say, though, we do get a little hint. We get a little hint of something, though, because the witness is going to be on the stand in 2 hours for this issue. I don't think he could be talking about Eddy Garcia. So they're talking about somebody else Maybe the person who took, oh, right. I remember now. Let me get up the Diddy docket, actually, witness list, because I'm having a hard time recalling things right now. Let's see, Diddy docket. Just like the names and stuff, and it'll be faster if I can just have them up here. USA versus Combs. Here's the Diddy docket. Free website. The witnesses. Okay. Such a good website. I wish I could make a website. Anyway, I mean, I have a website, but like, I wish I had this type of abilities. All right. So Frank Piazza, this is the guy. This is the guy that lives in Florida. Sorry, this is him right here. This is the government's witness. He's the witness that's supposedly going to come in and testify to the authenticity or whatever of the video, of the CNN video clips. I guess this is the one taken on cell phone footage. Mark Agnifilo, I guess, is expecting this guy to be on the stand in 2 hours. That means they're not expecting this guy, Eddy Garcia, to be on the stand for very long. So that can give us a little bit of a hint. All right, first question. The government asks to Eddy Garcia, where did you work on the day in question? Garcia said, now remember, this guy has already come in and pleaded the fifth. He wasn't going to testify. He said, no, I plead the fifth. The fifth is what? The Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution. And what is that? Your right to remain silent. Why do you have a right to remain silent? Because the Fifth Amendment guarantees that you do not have to be forced to testify against yourself. And you don't have to testify. If the government wants to make a case against you, they got to prove it themselves. You don't have to be answering no questions. This comes down from I think the Miranda rights, the United States, whatever, Arizona versus Miranda, whatever. These are you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say can and will be held against you up to and including in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. That's the Sixth Amendment, actually. So the fifth, he said, no, y'all want to get me in jail. Y'all have to do it without me. Cause y'all not about to y'all not about to get me for something. No, related to Diddy's trial. No. So the government, I guess, wanted his testimony so bad. They offered him an immunity, agreement, proffer agreement, or something. I'm not an expert on those, but it's basically giving him immunity for this testimony. Some people have asked before, and I don't know the answer to it. If you have immunity in a federal case, what happens what if the state wants to press charges on you for RICO or something else? Does that translate over to another jurisdiction? I mean, it's something that does come up a lot in these celebrity cases, these proffer deals, like the Keefe D case, which is the Tupac unaliving. They just, finally deciding to look into this Keefe D guy that he's been charged with the unaliving of Tupac. And he's saying that he had a proffer agreement. So it's really unclear how these proffer agreements work. And it looks like they go case by case. But this guy right here, Eddy Garcia, he worked at the Intercontinental Hotel on the day of the, at the time of the Cassie and Diddy incident. He said, I worked at the Intercontinental Hotel. I was told there was an incident involving Sean Combs. Okay, question. Did you see him there? Brian Steele pipes up and says, we'll stipulate that Diddy was there. Okay, let's see if there's anything else new. And then we'll check out our other sources. Okay, Amber Woods, if she's in the chat, shout out to her. I will say, I don't know who this is. I'm just reading a tweet, so I can't, verify that I've heard this, but Eddy Garcia, a security supervisor at the Intercontinental Hotel, is expected to testify today about an alleged $100,000 payoff made by Diddy. Okay, so I don't know if that's true or not, but that'll be interesting if he does testify about $100,000 payoff. Let me just do one more refresh to see if there's anything else new. Okay, so that's the most recent tweet from Inner City Press, where, the government calls Eddy Garcia. Where did you work on the day in question? The Intercontinental Hotel. I was told there was an incident involving Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. Next question, did you see him there? And then Brian Steele said we stipulate that Diddy was there. Okay, so let's see what's going on over here at CNN. Oh my God. 2 people were removed from the courtroom this morning. Oh my gosh, y'all. Okay. Let's start here. CNN.com, an hour and 5 minutes ago. Because it's going to give us a layout of what to expect moving forward. These are the next witnesses expected to take the stand. Eddy Garcia, who worked in security at the Intercontinental Hotel, is expected to take the stand this morning as prosecutor's first witness today. In the trial, he is expected, prosecutor said yesterday, they expect to question him for about an hour and a half, 90 minutes. Maureen Comey said forensic video expert Frank Piazza, Diddy employee Derek Ferguson, and Bana, aka Brianna Bongolan, who previously accused Diddy of sexual battery in her own lawsuit against Diddy, they are likely among the next witnesses to follow, but not necessarily today. And the order can change because the government is balancing a lot of stuff. They're also like the travel agents for everybody. So anybody that has to come in, they got to arrange it. And then there's this other little hiccup here. Jane Doe, another one of Diddy's accusers who's using a pseudonym. So the first one we had using a pseudonym was Mia, and now we have Jane. She could take the stand as early as tomorrow afternoon. The plan is to get her off the stand and plenty of time for her to go on an international flight that she has scheduled next Thursday. So a week from Thursday, a week and 2 days from now is when Jane got to get out of here. So I expect Diddy's team to do any and everything they can to snafu that schedule. It looks like that's just what they like to do. Okay, so just to recap, who are they expecting to come today on the stand? Or excuse me, who are they expected today? Who are they expecting today, or were they expecting, was Eddy Garcia, which was correct because he is right now sitting on the stand. But also a former Diddy employee, Derek Ferguson, is going to be supposedly on the stand soon. Frank Piazza, he's supposed to be on the stand today. And then Bana, who sued Diddy in her own lawsuit. Okay. So 49 minutes ago, lawyers discuss evidentiary issues before today's testimony begins. This is CNN.com. The judge was on the bench. This was about just before 9 a.m. Eastern time, local time where they are. They wanted to discuss some evidentiary issues. He was on the bench. The prosecutors and the defense attorneys were discussing some evidentiary issues before the jury enters and testimony resumes. Prosecutors have said they plan to call Eddy Garcia, who worked security at the Intercontinental Hotel, and they did end up doing this. Okay, look at this. 21 minutes ago, somebody was displaying crackhead energy in the court. Woman removed from courtroom after yelling disruptively. The judge had officers of the court remove a woman who could be heard yelling disruptively from the courtroom. She said in part, "Diddy, these MFers laughing at you." I'm telling you, the man sends demons out. I'm telling you, he does. Somebody does on his behalf, if not. "Diddy, these MFers are laughing at you." A woman was heard yelling and screaming in the court. She got removed. Diddy turned around in his seat when the judge directed the officers to remove the woman. And look, another one. 17 minutes ago, just a few minutes later, judge bars man from the courtroom after he violated the pseudonym order. A man who was in the courtroom on Monday. So he was in court yesterday. The drama, the scandal. Violated the pseudonym order by referring to Mia by her real name on his YouTube channel. Who was it? Somebody please put it in the chat. Who was the person, the YouTuber. Shame on that YouTuber. And this is one of the big reasons that I said on that first day, y'all better not say nobody's name, don't even guess. I don't think DJ Academics getting removed from court, or, I don't know. It's probably just somebody we never heard of, or I never heard of. But that's one of the reasons, y'all, this is a legal order and it has legal consequences if you are just out here saying people's names. And maybe you don't care because you don't think the judge can track you down, but I'm a little bit recognizable. If I try to go to any court in the Southern District of New York, even when I go to the Britney Spears hearings, all of the police officers in the court recognize me immediately. They know who I am. No, it's not Tisa. Somebody said Tisa Tells, but no, this is a man that was removed. Tisa Tells would never yell. Come on, y'all. Y'all can not like somebody. She's not going to be screaming in the middle of court. But look, they removed a woman from court for yelling this morning. These MFers are laughing at you, Diddy. These are not real. It reminds me of the lady on the plane. Remember her? Anyway, but the judge barred a man from the courtroom. He also was seen recording outside of the courthouse on Monday. The judge granted requests from the prosecutors to bar this man from the courtroom if he comes back. So this guy's not even allowed. He was doing YouTube videos on this. Maybe he wasn't even a paid plant. Maybe he was. But he broke a court order, and now he's not allowed to go back into this trial ever again. That's how serious it is. You got to be careful. What you do online can come back around. He used her real name on his YouTube channel, and that goes to show these prosecutors are watching YouTubers. At least the ones in the courtroom. I don't think they're watching me. They got other stuff to do. I'm just reading articles. The judge granted a request from the prosecutors to bar this man from the courtroom if he comes back. Prosecutors may seek to introduce excerpts of Diddy's recorded jail calls 12 minutes ago. Prosecutors said they may seek to introduce excerpts from some of Diddy's recorded jail calls when he was planning a social media campaign around his birthday. The assistant U.S. attorney, Madison Smizer, shout out to her, she said the calls rebut Diddy's implication that Mia must be lying about alleged assaults because of her social media posts, including that birthday video they tried so hard to get in. It will further support Mia's testimony that she felt compelled to post on Diddy's birthday. That is smart. That is smart. I got to give it to the prosecutor on that one. Quote, the defendant views his birthday and social media around his birthday as a marketing opportunity. This is a quote. As an opportunity to change the narrative. And we might want to show the jury those calls. Over 3 days of testimony, Mia described the abuse, verbal, physical, and sexual, she said she experienced while working for him. The jury was shown photos Mia posted on social media on Diddy's birthday. Also that video. Defense attorney Brian Steele continuously asked how Mia could possibly post about Diddy's birthday without recognizing the significance as the same time he allegedly sexually assaulted her for the first time. Mia testified that she was expected to post for Diddy's birthday while she was working for him. The prosecutor said the prosecution is going to submit a letter to the court about the issue. Intercontinental Hotel security employee called to the stand. 12 minutes ago, Eddy Garcia, who worked in security at the Intercontinental, is on the stand. Prosecutor Mitzi Steiner is questioning Garcia for the government. Eddy Garcia said he was a security officer at the hotel in March 2016. 5 minutes ago, he says he worked with fellow employee who was the first witness. So this guy worked with Israel Flores, who we already heard from him and his testimony. First witness. Look, this one right here. Right here. First witness of the trial. Now we're here. Wait, where was I? Here. Eddy Garcia, the guy on the stand right now, said he and Israel Flores, who also worked in security at the Intercontinental Hotel in March 2016, and who was the first witness to testify, they don't work together anymore, but they are still friends. He said he knew Flores testified because he saw a TikTok video about it, but the two have not discussed the substance of their testimonies. Garcia said by March 2016, he had been working at the Intercontinental Hotel for a few months. And at the time, he was 24 years old. So he's probably like 33 or whatever right now. Five minutes ago, CNN.com, former hotel security officer testifies under immunity order. He confirmed this morning that he is testifying under an immunity order. Remember, yesterday he was brought into the courtroom outside the presence of the jury to invoke his Fifth Amendment right. This prompted the judge to sign an immunity order. This order will compel Garcia to testify. Diddy, former assistant George Kaplan, similarly testified under an immunity order after invoking his Fifth Amendment right not to self-incriminate. We have another update from CNN.com less than a minute ago. Former security guard didn't initially recognize Combs and Ventura in the security video. A former security officer said by March 2016, he had been working at the hotel for a few months. He was 24 years old at the time. He said his shift started at 2 p.m. on March 5th. So this is like the overnight guard or whatever. He was informed there had been a domestic, or was it on March 5th? Hold on, let me see the date down here. Oh, they don't tell us. I can't believe that this YouTuber got kicked out the courtroom. I need somebody to tell me who was that. Okay. So this is the one we were reading, most recent update. Garcia said his shift started at 2 p.m. So he came in for the 2 p.m. shift. He's going to work from 2 to probably 9 or whatever. He was informed there had been a domestic dispute, but when he watched the surveillance video of the incident, he did not initially recognize the individuals. He did later learn, like at some point, that was Diddy and Cassie. The guy, Garcia, he's on the stand right now, testified that his understanding is that law enforcement wasn't called because Cassie did not request the presence of police, nor did she request medical attention. Let's go back to Inner City Press and see. I'm sure he has a lot of new stuff because we've been looking at other stuff for a while. Oh my gosh, all the drama. Okay. Let me show you your sign-in sheet for that day. He said, yes, I signed that. The week was ending in March 10th, 2016. Okay, question, Mr. Garcia. Could you monitor all the cameras? No, he said, not all of them. But I could monitor more than one at a time. Okay, next question. Would you be required to check the monitors? Yes, Garcia testified it's part of his job was to check those monitors. It was a requirement. He had to look at the monitors. He could see more than one at a time, but not all of them at a time. 7 minutes ago, did you initially recognize the individual involved in this incident? Garcia said no, not at first. But when I looked closer, yes, I could see that it was Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs. And did you learn who the second individual was? Garcia said yes. I eventually learned that was Cassie Ventura. Fine. Question, why was law enforcement not called? Garcia said Cassie didn't request it. Did you review the incident report? Yes. There was an attachment to the incident report, Garcia said, that I did not open on the computer. It was a video file. Okay, Mr. Garcia, so you didn't open the video file. Did you at any point after that receive a call about this incident? Garcia said, yes, I did. Who was it that called you? Garcia said it was Christina Karam with a New York area code. She asked me if I had the video. What did she ask for? Garcia said she wanted the video. She said Diddy had been intoxicated and he didn't remember exactly. Objection from Brian Steele. You can't be testifying about Diddy being intoxicated and not remembering, hearsay and all of that. The judge says, okay, that's true. And then they do a sidebar. Now they're in the sidebar. New update from CNN. Okay. This is a good little analysis. I do like reading these analyses from time to time because it kind of helps me feel around, at least what the different people and sides and interests are trying to say. Ex-hotel security guard's testimony is supposed to provide backstory of the Diddy video. This is what a CNN legal analyst is saying. So take it, with a grain of salt. This isn't legal analyst, but we'll read it. A former, especially because they're at another sidebar. I mean, how long does it? Didn't even take them 30 minutes to get to a sidebar. Former hotel security guard is testifying in court today about the video that shows Diddy assaulting Cassie in the Intercontinental Hotel in LA. Earlier, CNN legal analyst Joey Jackson said the testimony of Eddy Garcia was important to understand Diddy's interaction with the security guard and what actions he took. Quote, the nature of the backstory with regard to the video and what was said and how that transaction went between him and Diddy, it's very important. I think inquiring minds always want to know what led up to that. The defense, Diddy's team, is going to try and question whether the video shows the charges Diddy is facing, including racketeering, or whether it just only shows domestic violence. And this is what they have been planting as the AstroTurf narrative, in my opinion, since before the trial really started. It's the one thing all of the Diddy supporters seem to be hanging their hats on is like, yes, he is a deranged criminal. We all agree. But the crime is domestic violence. There's no RICO. Quote, the reality is everyone knows the video is bad, but at the end of the day, what you're doing if you're the defense is, does this show a racketeering enterprise? Does it show anything relating to ST? Well, yeah, it does. It shows that she can't escape. Or just a simple domestic dispute where he's beating the hell out of her. It's just a simple, let bygones be bygones. Now, I don't want to say just it's very significant, but the domestic, he's saying, or just a domestic. He's like, I don't want to say just because it is very significant, but just domestic violence. Here's the thing, y'all. Not every single piece of evidence has to show the full RICO. If that were the case, then you would only need one piece of evidence to show RICO. There's different layers to stuff. So does the video itself show racketeering? Who cares? It shows the force. It shows the pattern. It shows certainly violence. It shows assault. It shows battery. It shows temper. It shows him losing the temper. It shows how she could have been being threatened, forced, or coerced. So these are things that, even if it's just domestic violence, could still be showing the pattern of racketeering, other elements or prerequisites of the racketeering. This is also perhaps going to show bribery. That's one of the prereqs or the requisites underlying RICO. You only have to show 2 of 8. It's probably going to show bribery. At least that's what the feds are going to try to do, I think. If that, this is the guard that was bribed. We'll see. He said he got a call. Let's check out what they're saying at NBC News. Disruptive courtroom spectator removed 32 minutes ago, NBCnews.com. A person who was screaming in the gallery was removed from the courtroom shortly after prosecutors complained about the real identity of a witness being broadcast. The woman, who appears to be a Diddy supporter, was cursing as she was taken away by law enforcement. Everyone is laughing at Diddy, said the woman. This is a regular courtroom spectator who claims to be a transit employee. It's not right what they're doing to him. And this is something I believe Natanya Rubin, the dopest nerd, said Diddy was doing at his other trials that he's had in the past, or his other trial that he had, where people were all like basically just trying to show to the jury that Diddy had support. Like, not everybody is against Diddy. Now, could this actually just be a lady playing a leprechaun, you know, who really believes Diddy's being set up or whatever? Yeah. But even if it is, like, there's certain decorum you have to keep in the courtroom. Like I told y'all before, when you go to the Britney Spears, and when I went to the Britney Spears conservatorship court cases, you weren't even allowed to wear like a free Britney shirt. You couldn't even wear a shirt that said Britney on it at a lot of the hearings and stuff. Like, you have to, and there wasn't even a jury there. But here there's a jury here, so you can't be having people just come in and disrupt. I mean, there's many other reasons you can't just be having people come in and disrupt court like this. Very strange, but she got removed. The judge said, escort her out right now. The judge bellowed. This is the first major courtroom outburst of the trial, but there have been disturbances in the overflow viewing spaces in the courthouse during the trial. And they need to do the same thing to them in there, because they are doing this clown stuff in the overflow room. And it's making people think they can come into the real courtroom and do it. You are supposed to act and behave in an overflow room exactly the same way. It's just an overflow room. There's too many people here to fit in the courtroom. So we have another room. There's screens, there's speakers, there's everything in there that there's, you know, supposed to be. Not obviously you're not in the same room. But people have been acting a fool in there. Hooting, hollering, arguing, bantering. This is supposed to be like a courtroom setting. They need to remove them out of there too. Eddy Garcia takes the stand 24 minutes ago. Yesterday, he took the stand to invoke his Fifth Amendment immunity, his Fifth Amendment right. He was offered an immunity deal to protect him from prosecution so long as he's honest. He says 11 minutes ago he didn't initially recognize Diddy in the hotel assault video. Didn't initially recognize Diddy in the video, but he told the court he was later notified of their identities. Garcia also testified that law enforcement was not contacted and was told that Cassie did not request medical attention or police. We have another update from CNN. Six minutes ago, CNN.com, ex-hotel guard testifies Diddy's assistant, Christina Karam, KK, requested surveillance video after the 2016 incident. He testified about 90 minutes into his shift. So his shift starts at 2, so like about 3:30, right, 3:33 on the dot. I don't know, I'm just making that part up. 90 minutes into his shift, Christina Karam called the hotel security desk, identifying herself as Diddy's personal assistant. She asked if Garcia was familiar about an incident that occurred earlier that day. Karam then asked if there was any possible way to get a copy of the video to see the video. She said, so Garcia said Karam told him she wanted the video because Diddy was intoxicated and didn't remember. The judge sustained an objection to that testimony before Garcia could elaborate on what Diddy didn't remember. The lawyers then went to a side bar. 1 minute ago, CNN.com, Diddy's chief of staff pressed for incident video. She was told, quote, off the record, it's bad. Eddy Garcia, former security at Intercontinental Hotel, said he told Christina Karam on the phone she could not see the video. I told her she would have to reach out to the hotel management or get a subpoena. About an hour later, Eddy says he got a call from the hotel operator. Like the operator, like the Z, like beep operator. There was a woman in the lobby looking for him. Karam introduced herself and again asked to see the video because she wanted to know what they were dealing with. Garcia apologized, but again directed her to go to the hotel management or get a subpoena. He testified he also told Karam, off the record, it's bad. Let's go to Washington Post. Yes, I knew they were going to have details. Our details queens. Heckler booted from courtroom in morning disruption. Government prosecutors just alerted the court about an individual who broke the pseudonym order for Mia. This person was in the courthouse yesterday and used Mia's real name in the public square. YouTube. And he also went outside the courthouse to make the YouTube video, apparently, piecing together CNN, Intercity Press, NBC, and Washington Post. Okay, we get some more details about the person, the YouTuber. He was not escorted out because he was apparently not in court today. The government was in the middle of saying it planned to tell the court's chief security officer about the person who violated the pseudonym order. Remember, the government was right in the middle, the prosecutors were right in the middle of talking, and that Heckler disrupted? That's what we're reading right here. The person didn't appear to be in court today, but the judge did grant an order to make sure that person, that YouTuber, whoever it is escorted out of court if the officials see them. Then there was a loud disruption in the courtroom. Someone began heckling, yelling out an expletive. That person was escorted out of the courtroom, and there's no indication that it's the same person the government said disclosed Mia's identity. Just after the interruption, several reporters rushed out of the press room to try to catch a glimpse of the disruptor. It is a circus. The heckler, okay, here's Wesley Parnell. He's the one that rushed out. So he maybe got a look at the heckler. So let's see. She said she was a Diddy supporter. She was upset that people in the public, particularly in the overflow room, have been discussing the case out loud. She said she felt people were unfairly mocking Diddy. See, I told y'all before I even freaking read this, I already knew they need to get that goddamn overflow room under control, because that energy, that vibe is leaking into the real courtroom. She said, she specifically told this reporter from the Washington Post, she was upset people in the overflow room have been discussing the case out loud. She said she felt people were unfairly mocking Diddy. I wanted to make my voice heard. I really think Diddy shapeshifted or demon possessed the woman or paid her. That's my opinion. I don't know. I wasn't there. The court marshals then had to work to calm the woman once they got her outside the courtroom. This has to be a freaking actor. It has to be a puppetry playing a leprechaun, getting paid, or actor, or all. In my opinion, I don't know. Because look, she starts to like calm down, and then when the media shows up, she grew irate and began hurling expletives when approached by a reporter. Quote, I'm tired of seeing everyone treating Diddy the way they are. I said my piece. You need to go say it for the rest of the day in the jail cell, girl. Between the heckler's disruption and a lengthy conversation about the Hotel Intercontinental video yesterday, we had a bit of a later start than usual. The jurors took their seats in the jury box, and the government called its first witness. A 33-year-old private security worker, so now he works private security, wearing a black windbreaker. Former officer for Securitas, he worked at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016, the year the security footage captured Diddy beating Cassie. We have a new update from CNN. Former hotel guard says Diddy personally asked him for video. Diddy personally asked him for the video of the 2016 assault. So first, Karam asked, right? Chief of staff. She introduced herself as personal assistant. Is this just domestic violence? I don't think so. This is him using his employee to go up to the hotel and get this video. When that didn't work, then he used his own self, which is, perhaps could be even argued that that is the enterprise because he's trading on his own name to get the video. But, reasonable minds may disagree on that. 2 minutes ago, CNN.com, former hotel guard says Diddy personally asked him for the video. Eddy Garcia worked in security, said later that night, the security desk received yet another call from yet again a New York area code. Oh. Yeah, okay, from a New York area code. Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Karam, was on the line. She told Garcia somebody wanted to speak with him. She then put Diddy on the phone. Mr. Combs sounded very nervous, Eddy testified. Just was talking really fast. Was just saying he had a little too much to drink. And, you know how it is. You know how things are. He said to this guard, look, was just saying that he had a little too much to drink and that I knew how things was. Garcia said Diddy asked him to provide the video. And he said, if this gets out, it can ruin me. And this is the same thing that this guy previously testified, that Diddy was worried about, this could ruin me. Garcia said he apologized to Diddy and told him he had to reach out to the hotel management or get a subpoena. The same thing he said to Christina Karam. Then, a minute ago, CNN.com, ex-hotel guard testifies Diddy sought meeting with hotel over the incident video. Eddy Garcia sent an email that night to the general manager and to the head of security, notifying them about the calls from Diddy's assistant. He said Diddy requested a meeting with hotel management to discuss the incident and the video. He said in the email, Diddy was concerned about the video. So are we going to see that email? Okay, so the last tweet we read from I read with everybody together here from Inner City Press. Yeah, it sounds like they were persistent. Okay, so the most recent tweet we read was like they went to the sidebar because Eddy, the witness, he was kind of saying like, Christina Karam told me Diddy said he was drunk, something, and they objected, and then there was a sidebar. So they went to the sidebar. They're back from the sidebar 15 minutes ago, Inner City Press. What did you tell Miss Karam? That she would have to talk to management. Did she reach out again? Yes. I got a call from the lobby that she was there looking for me. So she called him, she showed up, and then later called again. Now, these are New York area codes, but they're, in the LA area, I guess, at the time. What did she ask for? This is like right after the incident, too. Remember, Israel Flores said he left for the shift, like a few hours later, he leaves. And then when he came back 2 days later for his next shift, the video was gone. He couldn't find it. Was gone, deleted. What did you tell Ms. Karam? That she would have to talk to the hotel management or get a subpoena. Did she reach out again? Yes. I got a call from the lobby that she was actually there looking for me. What did she ask for? She asked for the video. And how did you respond? I said again, she had to talk to management or file a subpoena. Did you tell her what you saw on the video? Garcia said, oh yeah, I told her. I said off the record, it's bad. Did you get another call? Yes. Again, another call after Christina Karam showed up in person. He said, oh yeah, it's bad. She left. He gets another call. It was Miss Karam again. But this time, she put someone else on the phone. Who? It was Mr. Combs. And he asked, do you know who I am? And what did you say? I said, yeah. And then he asked me for the video. He said he had been intoxicated. I told him I can't give you the video. Good for him. How did he sound? Well, he was talking fast and stuttering. He sounded nervous. And Mr. Garcia, did you email management about any of this? Yes, I did. Bingo. So I guess this email is just going to show domestic violence too. Using Christina Karam, the chief of staff, the do you know who I am, the reputation of Diddy. I guess that's just domestic violence. Got it. Bring up Government Exhibit 7R149. Mr. Garcia, can you tell us what this is? Yeah, this is the email I sent. Objection, Your Honor. Judge, just be quiet. Sit down, Brian. You'll get your turn. Email, the email as shown has Christina Karam's phone number on it, not redacted. It says Diddy says he is a patron and wants to talk to you. Okay, so it's an email that says P. Diddy says he is a patron and wants to talk to you. Did you get any more calls from Miss Karam? Yes, I did. I got calls on my personal cell phone number. How did you react to that? Eddy Garcia said I was nervous. Then Christina KK passed the phone to Diddy again. This is now the second time he's been put on the phone with Diddy. What did Diddy say? He said, I sounded like a good guy and that he could help me. Something like this could ruin him. He wanted the video. He said if it got out, it would ruin his career. I said, I don't even have access to that server, Diddy. He told me he believed I could make it happen. And if I did, he would take care of me. And what did you think he meant when he said he would take care of you? Or he could take care of you? Eddy said, I thought he meant money for the video. And what did you do? Garcia said, I reached out to my supervisor about it. Who was your supervisor? Because who was your supervisor? Bill Medrano. He told me he would do it for $50,000. What did you think that meant? That he would give the video to Diddy for $50,000. What did you do? Well, I called Christina Karam back. She put Diddy on the phone. And he called me Eddy, my angel. Whoo, golly. I'm like, it's like 4 weeks into testimony and we're finally hearing the rest of this story. Remember, it's like the first part of the story was the first witness ever. And it's like, okay, then what happened? And I've just been on the edge of my seat since. We've had Cassie come through. We've had Dawn Richard. We've had Mia. We've had assistants on assistants. I mean, we've had all kind of stuff happen. And now we're getting the rest of the story. Diddy told me, I knew you could do it. Let's do it right away. So then I told Bill Medrano. Bill Medrano is his supervisor, the one who said, I'll do it for 50. And what did Bill Medrano do? Well, he went into the server room and I guess he came back out. He handed me a black USB and said, done. The video was in the USB. And then what did you do? Eddy said, then I told Diddy. Then I told Mr. Combs. Where did Diddy want to meet up? West LA. He said, let's get it done. He wanted the video as soon as possible. I told Bill Medrano, which was the supervisor, the one who said we could do it for 50. He told me to tell other people I was on an errand for him. Okay. So Bill Medrano sends this security guy on his way to go bring a USB stick drive to Diddy in West LA. The supervisor tells Eddy Garcia to tell other people he's running an errand for the boss, Bill. Okay, now, Mr. Garcia, I'm going to turn your attention to Government Exhibit 8A104. What hours did you list? He said 10 to 1800. Was there a meeting point? Yeah, a big high-rise building. I called the number and someone came. Said he was Diddy's bodyguard. How did he look? Older African American, heavy set, 6'3" to 6'5". And what did this security guard say to you? Okay, so another employee being brought in, right? Enterprise activities, agreeing to do something. What? To conceal evidence of this tape? Maybe not, because it doesn't seem like Diddy is saying delete it quite yet. It just seems like he just wanted a copy of it. Maybe I'm missing something from reading between the lines here. Maybe we'll get some more updates from the other sources. But what did this bodyguard say? Remember, this is 2016. Heavy set, older, African-American, 6'3" to 6'5". He goes to the meeting point, a big high-rise building, called the number, someone came, apparently Diddy's bodyguard. He was older, African-American, heavy set, 6'3" to 6'5". What did this bodyguard say? He said he kind of came up with Diddy and that Diddy was actually a good guy and I was doing a good thing. So then they went upstairs. He went upstairs to actually meet Diddy. And Diddy was smiling. He called me Eddy, my angel. My voice was cracking. And so I said I was coming down with something. He was nervous. Diddy told Christina to go get me some of the tea that he liked. And then he asked, do you have it? And I said, yes, and handed it to him. Then what did he do? Then he left. After he left, he came back and he asked, is that the only copy? And I said, I believe so. Because that's the question, right? There was the one issue of Diddy wanted to see the video just to see what was on it. But then Diddy wanted to make the video disappear. Then Diddy said it had to be the only copy, nothing in the cloud. I called Mr. Medrano and he said it was the only copy. He said he took it off the server, so it's not in the cloud. What else did you say? I told Diddy that if Cassie filed a complaint, that I could get in trouble. I guess for participating in this. Okay, CNN has 2 new updates. Ex-hotel guard testifies Diddy called him personally and offered to take care of him. This is just more details on the same thing we already read, but I like to get the more details. And all from the different sources as well. Former security officer said he received a call from Christina Karam, Diddy's chief of staff. Again, enterprise activities is what they're trying to show with this. On his personal cell phone when he was at his house. He said he had not given Karam or Combs his personal number. So how did they find this number? He felt nervous getting the call. Christina Karam again passed the phone to Diddy. He stated, I sounded like a good guy, like I wanted to help, that something like this could ruin him. He was concerned that this video would get out and it would ruin his career. Garcia said Diddy apologized and told him he didn't have access to obtain the video. He again stated that I sounded like I really wanted to help and he believed I could make it happen. He testified that Diddy also told him he would take care of him, which Garcia understood that meant financially. 3 minutes ago, CNN.com. Former hotel guard testifies that his boss agreed to give Diddy the video for $50,000. Eddy Garcia testified that he called his boss to tell him Diddy was willing to pay to obtain the hotel security video that showed the rapper assaulting Cassie. After a pause on the phone, Garcia's boss said he would do it for $50,000. Garcia then called Christina Karam, the chief of staff, back. Again, the chief of staff of Combs' enterprises of Diddy. This isn't Diddy. This isn't personal between the two parties. This is the employee, statutory employee is the one doing this. She gave the phone to Diddy at that point. When Garcia said he could get him the video for $50,000, Diddy said, "Eddy, my angel, I knew you could help. I knew you could do it." The next day, Garcia's boss went to the servers and downloaded the video onto a thumb drive that he gave to Garcia for Diddy. Garcia said he contacted Christina Karam, told her he had the USB with the video on it, and she passed the phone to Diddy. He was happy. He sounded excited and said, "How fast could I get it to him?" He said Diddy gave him an address. It seemed like he wanted to have the video as soon as possible, Garcia said. He said Diddy again referred to him as Eddy, my angel, on the phone. Garcia's boss, Bill Medrano, then told Eddy Garcia, the one who's testifying right now, to go to the address and tell the other officers that he was running an errand for the boss. One new update from CNN. Ex-hotel, less than a minute ago, CNN.com, ex-hotel guard says Diddy tried to put him at ease during a private meeting over the video. He said when he arrived in the lobby of this high-rise building where Diddy told him to meet, a man who identified himself as Diddy's security guard brought Garcia up to a room on a higher floor. Diddy was happy when Garcia got there. He was smiling, excited. He just looked happy. "Eddy, my angel," welcomed Garcia and said, "I believe you know." I don't know what this is. I don't know what this quote is. I think this is a typo. Diddy welcomed Eddy Garcia in. Said something about, "I believe you know something." He was making me feel comfortable. Quote, "At the time, I was very nervous and my voice kept cracking." Garcia, remember, he was 24 years old at the time. Garcia said Combs offered him a tea. Kind of like Lima always offers Bam a tea. It's very interesting. Combs offered him a tea when he said he was coming down with something. Asked him if he liked tea. And when Garcia said he didn't know, Diddy told Christina Karam, "Go get him that tea I like." Got two new updates from NBC. Okay, this is new details from NBC 14 minutes ago, NBCnews.com. Diddy's team realized the damage of his taped beating of Cassie, Eddy Garcia said. According to Garcia, Diddy's former chief of staff, Christina Karam, quickly understood the potential career-ending problems that the surveillance video of her boss beating Cassie could cause. When Christina Karam asked Garcia for the tape, the witness told her he didn't have the authority to produce the footage. He then told her to get a subpoena. 13 minutes ago, Diddy said video of Cassie being beaten would ruin his career. Garcia testified that a call from Diddy's team to his personal cell phone number had him nervous, and that Diddy repeatedly told him he could help regarding the footage of him assaulting Cassie. Eddy Garcia says that Christina Karam, Diddy's employee, first made the call, but then Diddy eventually got on the phone himself. Eddy told the court that Diddy said the video would ruin his career. Eddy explained on the call that he did not have access to the server room. So he explained to Diddy, I can't go into that server room. Only the supervisor can do that. So he couldn't help. But Diddy offered to take care of him for the video, which Garcia said he believed meant financially. Okay. What else did he say? That if Cassie, remember this is the last thing we read from Inner City Press, that if Cassie filed a complaint, he told this to Diddy, if Cassie files a complaint, I can get in trouble. But Diddy told him, don't worry, Cassie wants the tape gone too. He called Cassie on FaceTime and showed. So he called Cassie on FaceTime. She was in a hoodie, but I recognized her. What did she say? That she had a movie coming out and she did not want this video to be coming out and being released. He wanted my ID. And he also wanted the ID of Mr. Medrano. And he wanted the ID of Mr. Flores, the responding officer. Remember, we heard from him the first day, first witness. But he is a very straight guy and probably wouldn't do it. Probably wouldn't do what? He wanted my ID and Mr. Medrano's ID, and he wanted the ID of the responding officer, Mr. Flores. But he is a very straight guy and probably wouldn't do it. I don't know what that means. I told Bill Medrano, that's his supervisor. And what did the supervisor say? We'd get Henry Elias, the other responding officer. So they needed the ID of the other people, but they were like, okay, if we try to get Israel Flores involved in this, he ain't giving his ID. Okay, so that's not going to happen. And then the supervisor was like, all right, just pull in that other guy that responded. Remember the other one that was like there on the scene? It was two of them. So I guess they thought that was going to be like good enough for Diddy. Did we already read this? Yeah, what they were dealing with. So Washington Post 19 minutes ago adds a little bit more detail, not much, about the interaction between Christina Karam and Eddy Garcia in the hallway. In the lobby, whenever she came up to the hotel. When the Diddy executive arrived at the hotel lobby, Eddy Garcia testified, she asked again if there was a way she could see the video so Diddy's staff could know what they were dealing with. But Garcia apologized and said, no, I don't have the power, the authority. I don't have the access to that room. You have to get a subpoena. But he did give her a brief description of the footage, and he said, it's bad. Okay, now we're on the Independent. We'll just start here. We'll start here 37 minutes ago. Garcia began working shortly after Diddy attacked Cassie, 2 p.m., he said. And apparently it was around 11 a.m. that the attack happened, if I remember correctly. He said his shift started shortly after Diddy was recorded punching, kicking, and dragging Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel. He testified he was told the police weren't called because Cassie didn't ask for them. Ms. Ventura did not request the presence of police or medical attention. Garcia said he then watched the footage of the incident and didn't initially recognize Combs or Cassie. 31 minutes ago, Combs' ex-chief of staff requested hotel video footage. Eddy Garcia testifies. Security officer at the Intercontinental Hotel testified that Christina Karam called the front desk, identified herself as Diddy's assistant, and asked for the footage of him attacking Cassie. She was, in fact, at the time, his chief of staff. She asked if there was, quote, any possible way to get a copy of the video. She added Diddy was intoxicated and didn't remember the incident. Garcia didn't show the footage to her, though. He testified he did not give Christina Karam access to the footage, said he told Karam to contact hotel management or get a subpoena, but he said off the record, it's bad. Diddy personally then asked for the video. When that didn't work, they escalated to Diddy asking for the video. He sounded very nervous. He was just talking really fast. He was just saying He had a little too much to drink and that I knew how things was. If this got out, it could ruin him. At that point, Diddy offered to take care of the officer. Eddy Garcia testified that Diddy offered to take care of him in exchange for the footage of him attacking Cassie at the Intercontinental. Garcia testified he knew Diddy meant it in a financial sense. Now, this is the second guard who has testified to this. Remember, the first guard was like offered a stack of cash at the room and he was like, I don't want your money, just check out. Something like this could ruin him, Garcia testified. He was concerned that this video would get out and it would ruin his career. He again stated that I sounded like I wanted to help and he believed I could make it happen. He testifies that his boss then sold the footage for $50,000. He testified that his boss at the Intercontinental Hotel sold Diddy the footage of the attack for $50,000. He said, Eddy Garcia testified that he called Diddy and Christina Karam back to tell them the news, the $50,000 price. Garcia and Eddy Garcia said to Diddy told to him, Eddy, my angel, I knew you could help. I knew you could do it. Eddy Garcia said his boss then gave him a USB drive with the footage on it and told him to deliver it to Diddy. He was happy. He sounded excited and said, how fast could I get it to him? He testified that Diddy repeatedly called him my angel and tried to make him comfortable when he delivered the footage. I believe he was trying to make me feel comfortable. At the time, I was very nervous and my voice kept cracking. Garcia said Diddy was smiling and happy whenever he delivered the footage. 2 new updates from CNN. 1 minute ago, CNN.com, ex-hotel guard testifies Diddy wanted to ensure only one copy of the video existed. He said he handed Diddy the USB after he asked for the hotel security video that showed Diddy assaulting Cassie, and that then Diddy left the room for a few minutes without explaining why. When he returned, he asked if that was the only copy of the video. Eddy Garcia told him he believed it was the only copy. He said it had to be the only copy and that he didn't want it getting out. And if I was sure nothing was on the cloud. Eddy Garcia said he then contacted his boss, who confirmed it was the only copy and he had removed it from the server. Garcia told Diddy what the boss said. And then he also said he was concerned that if Cassie filed a police report about the incident later, it could affect him. Garcia testified, quote, he said, meaning Diddy, said I didn't have to worry about that. She knew about it and she wanted the video gone too. Diddy directed Cassie to say she wanted the video to go away too. The former security guard says. This is CNN.com 3 minutes ago. Former hotel security guard Eddy Garcia said after he gave Diddy the USB drive with the footage on it, Diddy got who he claimed was Cassie on a FaceTime call. Garcia said it did look like her, but she was wearing a hoodie and the lighting was bad. As Diddy passed the phone to Garcia, Diddy directed Cassie, Garcia testified. Quote, let him know that you want this to go away too. Oh yeah, so that's believable. Like, he just told her what to say right then and there and she said it, according to CNN.com. Cassie told Garcia on the phone that she had a movie coming out and it wasn't a good time for this to come out and she wanted this to go away. Her demeanor was normal on the short video call. Diddy also asked for identification for Garcia. He also wanted identification for Garcia's boss and the security officer who responded to the incident. That was Israel Flores. Diddy said, quote, this sounds like a threat to me. So could this be another requisite of the RICO, using threats? I don't know. You know, Diddy's team would say this is certainly not a threat if they even agree it happened. Quote, this only works if we're all on the same page, Diddy apparently said. And this is as he's like, I need all y'all's IDs because this is only going to work if we're all on the same page. Garcia told Diddy he was nervous because he knew Flores. He said, Flores is not going to go for this, Diddy. Flores, the first one that testified. Knowing Mr. Flores, he's a very by the book type of guy, and it's just not something that he would do. This, given the IDs thing. Oh my God, breaking news, everybody. Diddy had him sign an NDA. Diddy then had Eddy Garcia, a former security officer at the Intercontinental Hotel, sign paperwork, including a declaration that it was the only existing copy of the video. The jury viewed photos of the NDA, which were signed and dated. Oh my God, I want to see the NDA. I want to see if it looks like the one that was leaked by allegedly leaked by Jonathan Oddy's ex-wife. The jury viewed photos of the NDA. They were signed and dated March 7th. The NDA was printed on Diddy's company's letterhead, Enterprise Activities, if you ask me, and referenced the company, Bad Boy, Enterprise Activities, if you ask me, and had the New York office address on the NDA. And who's the lawyer? Who paid the lawyer to prepare the NDA? Is it Teeny Garagos's daddy? That's what I want to know. 2 updates on NBC. Four minutes ago, NBCnews.com, Garcia testified that Diddy desperately wanted a copy of the surveillance footage of him beating Cassie at the hotel in 2016. And he implied that he was willing to pay. The footage sold to Diddy had to be the only copy because he did not want it getting out, Garcia said. Garcia also said that he talked to his boss who was willing to do it for $50,000. 4 minutes ago, NBCnews.com, Diddy had Cassie on a call to reassure the hotel security for video sale. Garcia testified that he expressed concerns about selling the only copy of the assault video, especially if Cassie had filed a police report in the matter. He told the court that he ended up on a FaceTime call with Diddy and Cassie, with Diddy in the room, and then Cassie was on the FaceTime call. Diddy told Cassie to tell Garcia she also wanted the video to go away. So he tells her on the phone, tell him you want this to go away too. According to Garcia, Cassie then said it wasn't a good time for the video to come out and she wanted it gone. New update. Ooh, my God, breaking news. Ex-hotel guard said he signed the NDA without reading it. The agreement threatened $1 million penalty if he breached. Eddy Garcia, a former security officer at the hotel, testified he did not read the documents carefully before signing them, and he did not receive any copies. I was nervous and I was in a rush to get out of there. One part of the agreement, read out loud in court, says the following, quote, recipient understands that Diddy is a highly prominent recording artist, entertainer, and entrepreneur. It seems like Enterprise Activities to me because there's trading on his business names. And his privacy and the confidentiality of the confidential information is of material concern. Another line from the agreement said, quote, accordingly, without limitation of companies and or Diddy's rights as they relate to injunctive relief, recipient, that's the person signing it, agrees to pay company the sum of $1 million as liquidated damages in the event of a breach of this agreement. Garcia testified that he was earning about $10.50 an hour at the time as a security guard. So if he would breach, he would owe $1 million. Okay. So we're back up here on the Inner City Press tweets. Diddy wanted his ID. Diddy wanted Eddy Garcia's ID, but he also wanted Israel Flores's ID and the boss at the hotel. And he's like, Israel Flores is not going to go for this. I know him. He ain't going to do that. So the boss, Bill Medrano, said, we'll give him Henry Elias's ID instead, the other guy that responded. Okay, next question. So when Diddy saw the IDs, he looked at Henry's and said, yeah, that's him. Then he brought out the NDAs and I said I wouldn't speak about it. Okay, now the government is going to introduce Government Exhibit C-106. Do you recognize this? He said, yeah, it states I have provided the only copy of the video. Did you read this NDA? No, I was nervous. Or did you read it? Did you read whatever this is? The only copy. It's a declaration attached to the NDA. Like, this is the only copy of the video, et cetera, et cetera. And did you read this declaration? He said, no, I was nervous. I was just signing. Were you given a copy of it? No. What about the NDA? What were the liquidated damages if you breached the NDA? If you breached the NDA? $1 million. How much were you making at the time? $10.50 an hour. Okay, so then what happened? Well, then Diddy put cash through the money counter. There were stacks of $10,000 at a time. The machine displayed at the end $100,000. Why the additional $50,000? Garcia said 50 for me and 50 what Diddy thought was Israel Flores. How did Diddy give you the $100,000? Garcia said, in a brown paper bag. Okay, enterprise question. Was the bodyguard in the room? Yes. Another enterprise question. Was Ms. Karam, the chief of staff who introduced herself as Diddy's assistant, in the room? Yes. I would say at some point, yet I stood up. At some point, I stood up. And what was this supposed to signify? That I was going to be leaving. Diddy then escorted me to my car. He asked how I was going to be spending it. And he said not to make any big purchases. Okay, because why? Because concealing the money. Mr. Steele, if you're objecting, speak to the microphone. That's sustained. Disregard the last part. Okay, so the part about Diddy telling him, yep, when your integrity is for sale. The part about Diddy telling him how to spend it, don't spend it this way, that way, sustained. Okay, so then what did you do after you in the car with the paper bag full of $100,000? I called Mr. Bill Medrano and gave him $50,000. And how much did you give to Mr. Elias? He got $20,000. And what did you do with your $30,000? He said, I bought a used car with cash. Did you ever hear from Diddy ever again? Yeah, actually, he called and told me Happy Easter. And if I ever needed anything. And did you ever reach out to him later? He said, yeah, I did. A few years later via Instagram, asking if there was any work in LA, like private security work. He said, I never heard back from him though. Okay. And then someone called a sidebar. The assistant U.S. attorney called a sidebar. So this must be one of those things where they have to tell the judge before they bring something up. We have an update from NBCnews.com 5 minutes ago. Garcia's NDA for Diddy footage presented in court. As part of the deal to get Diddy's footage of the hotel beating, Garcia signed an NDA that called for the security officer's silence and destruction of evidence. Right. This is going to be considered bribery by the prosecution. They're trying to show this as bribery. And destruction of evidence, which I believe is another whole RICO prereq. According to the NDA presented in court, how did they get this NDA? There were to be no duplicates of footage or stored communications about the incident, which there were stored communications, I guess, from that email. When asked if he read through everything before signing, Garcia said, no, I didn't read through it all. I was nervous. Just now, NBCnews.com, Diddy presented hotel security with $100,000 in a brown paper bag. After the hotel security signed NDAs, Garcia told the court that Diddy left and returned to the room with a brown paper bag and a money counter. Diddy put stacks of money into the counter, $10,000 at a time, until it reached a total of $100,000. According to Garcia, the original deal for the video was $50,000, but Diddy said the excess was for the other two security guards. But again, they kept it from Israel Flores. They didn't tell him about it. Okay. 1 minute ago, Washington Post gives another update. When Eddie Garcia met with Diddy to sell him surveillance footage of Diddy beating Cassie, the security officer testified he told Diddy he worried that police were going to come looking for it if Cassie filed a police report. Diddy said, "I didn't have to worry about that." Then put him on the phone with a woman he understood to be Cassie. He said he overheard Diddy tell her, "Let him know that you want the video to go away too." Cassie told Garcia she had a movie coming out. It wasn't a good time for this to come out, and so she wanted it to go away, the security guard said. Okay, so they're taking yet another sidebar. Let's go to, this is the Independent. We might have already read this one. Eddy, my angel, tried to make him comfortable. I believe he was making me feel comfortable. At the time, I was very nervous and my voice kept cracking, and he was calling him Eddy, my angel. Diddy was smiling and happy when he got the footage. Diddy wanted only one copy of footage. Security guard testifies. He said it had to be the only copy. He didn't want it getting out and asked if I was sure there was nothing on the cloud. He testified that his boss confirmed it was the only copy and that the footage had been wiped from the servers. Then Diddy FaceTimed Cassie and told her, "Let him know you want this to go away too." Ex-hotel guard said Diddy counted out. This is CNN.com less than a minute ago. And it's more discussion of how they split up the 100,000. After Eddie Garcia, a former security officer at the hotel, signed paperwork, Diddy grabbed the documents and left the room, returning with a brown paper bag. So this guy was there to kind of be like the liaison. He was kind of like, need IDs for everybody, need everybody signing NDAs, and need IDs for everybody, need everybody signing NDAs, and we need them to agree to the declaration that this is the only copy. Once all that stuff was signed, then that's when Diddy comes out of the room with the brown paper bag. He does the money counting and all that. Diddy put a total of $100,000 through the money counter in stacks of $10K at a time. Garcia testified that he previously told Diddy that his boss would do it for $50,000. So Garcia assumed the other $50,000 was for Garcia, and the guy who Combs thought was Israel Flores, the responding officer. Garcia testified that the security guard was present. Security guard, remember the guy who came down and met him? He was present while Diddy counted the money, and he recalled that Christina Karam was also in and out of the room, so she did probably also see the money being counted. After Diddy finished counting the money, he asked Garcia if he wanted to count it himself. Garcia declined and told Diddy he trusted the machine. When Garcia stood up to leave, Diddy said he'd walk him out. This is giving like mob boss type stuff, right? Just the scene, how it's set, the money counting, the paper bag, the NDAs, like, and they really do need to prove like this is like a mob boss running an enterprise. He walked down to the lobby with Garcia and requested both of their cars. Diddy asked Garcia how he was planning to spend the money and suggested that Garcia not make any big purchases. Garcia called his boss, Bill Medrano, from the car while watching. From the car while he was watching to make sure he wasn't being followed. Garcia split the money with his boss and the other officer that was on duty at the time of the incident, Henry Elias, but they did not split the money with Israel Flores. Garcia testified that he gave $50,000 to Medrano and $20,000 to Elias, and he said he bought a used car in cash with the $30,000 and kept the car for himself. He said he did not deposit any of the money into a bank or report it on his taxes. He just bought the car with cash and kept it moving. Garcia said that about a week or two later, he noticed the incident report and the attached security footage were no longer on the security computer. He said he did not report it to anyone because it would draw more attention to the situation, and he did not want to draw attention to the situation. 3 minutes ago, NBC News, Garcia, who was making $10.50 an hour, signed an NDA with $1 million penalty. He received $100,000 for himself and 2 other employees for helping Diddy keep the hotel beating of Cassie under wraps. Okay, this is a open and shut enterprise activity from what I could tell. CNN has another update. Witnesses who have taken the stand so far. Israel Flores, Daniel Phillip, Yassine Benda, Don Richard, Carrie Morgan, David James, Regina Ventura, Sheree Hayes, a.k.a. The Punisher, Gerard Gannon, Don Hughes, George Kaplan, Kid Cudi, Mila Morales, Frederick Zimor, Joshua Croft, Capricorn Clark, LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio, LA fire arson investigator Lance Jimenez, Deontay Nash, a witness called Mia, Sylvia Oken, and Eddy Garcia. Less than a minute ago, CNN.com, security guard says he reached out to Diddy about work opportunities but never heard back. Eddy testified that he reached out to Diddy through Instagram in 2017 or 2018, asking Diddy if he had any work for him when Diddy was in LA, but Diddy never responded. Okay, they're back. 17 seconds ago. Anything further, Ms. Steiner? Yes. Mr. Flores, did you ever see this video ever again? Yes, I did, on a news outlet. Also, Mr. Flores had messaged me a screenshot of it. Did you keep those messages? No, I deleted them. I wanted nothing to do with it. Remember, he wasn't going to testify. He pled the fifth. They had to compel him. They had to order him to testify under an immunity deal. One minute ago, Diddy warned hotel guard not to make big purchases. Garcia told the court that Diddy asked him if he wanted to count the money that he was getting from the video sale, and he asked how he intended to spend it. Garcia opted to trust the money counter. He testified and explained to Diddy he didn't know what he was going to use the $30,000 for that he got from the deal. Diddy then warned him not to make any big purchases. The hotel security guard said he assumed Diddy was advising against drawing attention to the money. Garcia added that he didn't deposit any of the cash into the bank. He used the money to buy a used car. Okay, next question. Were you ever contacted by law enforcement? Yes, I was. Did you tell the truth to law enforcement? Nope. I lied. I wanted nothing to do with it. Did you then get your own lawyer and then you told the truth? Yes. Okay, no further questions. So they're covering up or cleaning up an issue that I suspect is about to come out right now from Brian Steele. You never said any of this until recently. You isn't it true? You talked to the government and you didn't tell them. You talked to the law enforcement. You didn't tell them. Okay, that's what I expect to come up here. But the defense really hasn't been spending a lot of time on these cross-examinations of this type of witnesses. I mean, the Israel Flores, they didn't ask him that much, did they? I don't even remember. It was like, how long ago? It was a month ago. 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Let's see what the Mirror is doing. We haven't even checked in over there. Diddy vowed to take care of hotel worker. He claimed he received a call from KK, Diddy's head of staff, on his personal phone, but he hadn't given his number to Karam. He felt nervous when he got that call. Diddy gets on the phone. He stated that I sounded like a good guy. He was concerned this video was going to get out and ruin his career. He said he would take care of me financially, or at least that's what this guy thought. He meant financially, and it turned out it was true. He called his boss to say Diddy was keen to pay for the footage. Now, you know, we're with the the UK, because they say Keen over there. After a pause, the boss said he'd do it for 50. The day after, the boss goes into the servers to download the footage onto a drive he gave to Eddy, and then Eddy goes to bring it to Diddy. Contacts Christina Karam, said he has the footage. She passed the phone to Diddy. He was happy, sounded excited. How fast could I get it to him? He went, pretended to run an errand for his boss. Diddy directed Cassie to say she wanted the video to go away. He told the court it looked like Cassie, but she was wearing a hoodie and the lighting wasn't great. Let him know you want this to go away too. Cassie is said to have told Garcia that she had a movie coming out and it wasn't a good time for this to come out. She wanted it to go away. Diddy is believed to have asked for identification for Garcia, his boss, and Israel Flores. This only works if we're on the same page, said Garcia, or said Diddy, according to Garcia. Knowing Mr. Flores, he's a very by-the-book guy. This is just not something he would do, Garcia told the court. Garcia then signed an NDA without reading it. He claims he didn't read any of the documents before being requested to sign them March 7th, which was printed on Diddy's business, Combs Company's letterhead. I was nervous. I was in a rush to get out of there. He said he didn't receive any copies. One part of the agreement stated the recipient understands that Diddy is a highly prominent recording artist, entertainer, and entrepreneur, and his privacy and the confidentiality of the confidential agreement is a material concern. Accordingly, without limitation of companies or Combs' rights as they relate to injunctive relief detailed above, recipient agrees to pay company the sum of $1 million if you breach the NDA. Sir, you were in the condominium unit with Diddy and others and received double what your boss was requesting. Fair? Garcia said yes. And you told your boss, because you're honest, right? He said, well, yeah. You asked Diddy for work? Yes. Because remember, he works as a private security. Less than a minute ago, CNN.com, former hotel security guard testifies Diddy asked if anyone asked about, oh, this is interesting. We got new details. Diddy apparently also asked if anyone else had asked about the assault video after he got the copy. Eddy Garcia testified that Diddy reached out to him a few weeks after he provided Diddy the hotel security video showing Diddy physically assaulting Cassie. He said, "Happy Easter, Eddy, my angel. God is good. God put..." Lord have mercy. This is why he's getting smited. God put you in my way for a reason, and then proceeded to ask if anyone has... Oh, for a reason. Then Diddy proceeded to... Because he don't reach out unless he needs something, right? Then he's like, oh, nobody asked about that video, right? Or that incident. Garcia said he told Diddy he hadn't heard anything. He ended the call with just saying, if I ever needed anything, just let him know. And then he did let him know he did need something, and Diddy did not respond. Later, like a year later, years later, whatever. We got an update from CNN. After 2024 video resurfaced, he spoke with colleagues and then deleted messages. So he destroyed evidence. He's admitting to destroying evidence. Again, he cannot be prosecuted for this in the Southern District of New York, at least federal court. And federally, I don't believe he'll be able to be prosecuted for this. But he claims just last year, he spoke with colleagues about the incident and deleted the messages. He was then contacted by law enforcement. Okay, so he testified that after the video surfaced, he spoke with his colleagues, Israel Flores and Henry Elias. Henry Elias is the guy who got the other $20,000. Garcia was contacted by law enforcement in June 2024 about the incident, but he testified that he lied. He wasn't honest about his own involvement in the situation at the time. He deleted his messages with Flores and Elias about the situation after he met with the investigators. So he met with investigators, he lied to them, and then he deleted evidence off of his phone. He said he was later appointed his own lawyer. He was given a free lawyer. And he met with the government later that year, last year. And that is whenever he finally disclosed that Diddy had, in fact, paid him for the video. He said he was truthful in that meeting, and he's been truthful in all subsequent meetings with prosecutors since that meeting. So this is going to be used against him by Brian Steele on the cross-examination, which is now ongoing. I don't think the man should have answered because you were honest. I would have said I told my boss because I didn't want to get fired. Because now this guy just looks stupid. Oh, yeah, I'm honest. Okay, you literally just testified you lied last year to the government. So you're not that honest. Oh, we get some more details from Details Queens at the Washington Post. Good. Okay. 15 minutes ago, Washington Post, Diddy paid $50,000 for video of him beating Ventura workers, says, but we get some more details. So let me read this out. Diddy repeatedly tried to obtain hotel security footage of him beating Cassie, according to Eddy Garcia's testimony. And finally, Diddy handed over tens of thousands of dollars, 100,000 to be exact, for the video. Eddy Garcia said Diddy first called him on the hotel security line after the beating, and he nervously told him he had a little too much to drink. So Diddy was sounding nervous. He said Diddy intimated that I knew how things were with women and one thing leads to another. So this is how Diddy does, right? Like, oh, everybody beats up on their girlfriend at the hotel and needs the footage deleted. You know how it goes. You drink, you beat your woman up, one thing leads to another. The next time he gets a call, Diddy called his personal cell phone. He stated that I sounded like a good guy. I sounded like I wanted to help. Something like this could ruin him. He repeated that I sounded like a good guy and I could help. He initially told Diddy he did not have access to the video, but he later reached back out and said his boss was willing to erase the footage for $50K. Eddy, my angel, I knew you could help. I knew you could do it. And excited, Diddy replied, according to Garcia's testimony. The next day, he told the jury his boss directed him to fudge the timestamps. Okay, so this is another detail. The next day, his boss, Bill Madrano, told him to fake timestamps on the shift logs and go to a high rise in LA where he met with Diddy. He was smiling, he was excited, and he just looked happy. But he testified that his own voice kept cracking with anxiety because he knew he was doing something wrong, probably. He said he personally handed a thumb drive with the video on it to Diddy and assured him it was the only copy. 13 minutes ago, Wesley Parnell, WashingtonPost.com, after Diddy and Cassie told Eddy they wanted the security footage kept quiet, Eddy testified he signed non-disclosure agreements averring that the video did not exist, promising that the video did not exist anywhere else on any other server, and he would not divulge any details from the deal. Garcia testified that Diddy also had him text photos of his driver's license as well as IDs for his boss and another security officer so that they were all on the same page. Now, this reminds me of one of those Busby suits where Diddy's like needing to take pictures of people's IDs. Wesley Parnell, Washington Post, 3 minutes ago. After Eddy gave Diddy a USB drive with the security footage and signed 2 contracts, well, it was an NDA and a declaration. He testified Diddy stepped out of the room and returned with a money counting machine and a brown paper bag. Garcia said Diddy pulled bills out of the bag, ran $100,000 through the counter, handed it to him, and warned him not to make any big purchases. Garcia testified that he gave $50,000 of the money to the supervisor who approved the deal with Diddy, $20,000 to another guard involved in the incident, and he kept $30,000 for himself, and he bought a used vehicle. We have another new update from Washington Post 2 minutes ago. Wesley Parnell. Prosecutors asked Eddy why he was nervous around Diddy while the 2 men allegedly struck a deal to sell the security footage of him beating Cassie. The hotel guard began to explain his fear of the hip hop mogul before a sharp objection from Brian Steele halted the line of questioning. So he was saying, I was scared of Diddy. So the same way, Brian Steele wants to just get a question out here on the record just for fun in front of the jury. I guess the prosecutors are like, you could play that game. Why were you scared of Diddy? Why were you so scared of Diddy? Or nervous? Why were you so nervous around Diddy? He started to say that he was scared of him. But then Brian Steele's like, objection! And then the line of questioning stops. Prosecutors are trying to provide the jury with evidence that supports racketeering charges. This involves making threats to extort individuals and companies. The imagery in this testimony is strong. Paper bags filled with cash, bodyguards, money counters, bands of cash, and veiled threats. This is kind of what I was saying too. I was thinking this too, Wesley. We're on the same page there. 2 new updates from NBC. 2 minutes ago, Diddy celebrated Easter by making his beating of Cassie go away, Garcia said. He had kind words for the security guard who was making sure the damaging footage was disposed of. On Easter, he said, "Happy Easter, my angel. God is good." And then proceeded to ask if anyone had asked about the incident or the video. I said I hadn't heard anything, and he said, okay. Garcia said he later asked Combs about employment possibilities with his company, but Diddy didn't answer, he said. Garcia says he wasn't initially truthful with police over the incident. When police began asking about the March 2016 assault, he said he was not initially honest with investigators. He testified that he was contacted by law enforcement. He wasn't truthful about his involvement at first. He later was appointed an attorney and he met with the government, and that is when he said he was more forthcoming. So maybe they were like, you are going to be a co-conspirator if you don't testify, buddy. Defense attorney begins cross-examination. Mitzi Steiner, I thought it was Madison Smizer, finished with the direct questioning of Eddy, a former security officer. Defense attorney Brian Steele is now beginning cross-examination. Okay. Brian Steele, first question. Sir, were you in the condominium unit with Diddy and others and received double what your boss was requesting? Fair? Yes. You told your boss what happened with Diddy because you're honest, right? Yes. He should have said no because I didn't want to get fired or something. And you asked Diddy for work? Yes. Let me show you this NDA. This part says exclusions, right? He said, yeah, under an NDA, you can't speak. That's my understanding. Brian Steele says, okay, yeah, but it says nothing prohibits a truthful statement in a legal proceeding. Garcia said, yeah, I see that. But remember what Garcia also said. He didn't have a copy of the NDA. He just signed it that day. He didn't really read it. Even if he did read it, how do you remember what it said? And he's like, I didn't know it said that on there. Like, really, I didn't even read it. I don't have a copy of this, Brian. So, yeah, now I see that I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, I do see it now. And you weren't law enforcement at the time, were you? No. Okay, I have nothing further. Okay. Redirect. Interesting. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Look, listen, I got to give it to the government today. They are really stepping it up. They have a few tricks up their sleeves today. So here's Brian Steele. He doesn't ask many questions, right? He just says, there's nothing in here prohibiting you from telling the truth to the government, right? You lied to the government, but you didn't have to do that. He's like, well, I see it says that. You weren't law enforcement, were you? No. I guess that's Steele maybe trying to, I don't know why I would ask that. Maybe he's trying to figure out, was he an undercover informant? Can you lie under oath if you have, I don't know. But he's like, okay, I have nothing further. So he's trying to get into the lawyering, right? Like Garcia's just like, under an NDA, you're not allowed to speak about stuff. That's my understanding. That's what I thought. But Steele is like, oh, well, look at this little tiny exclusion section. You could have told the truth, but you just didn't. The assistant U.S. attorney comes back for redirect. She's like, okay, since we're getting down into provisions, why don't we do that, actually? Good idea. Can you read paragraph 4 after the word however? Garcia says, yes, notify company to allow company to prevent disclosure. The assistant U.S. attorney says, so you would have to notify Diddy before you talk to law enforcement under this NDA, right? Garcia said, yes, that's how I'm reading it. Brian Steele objects. He doesn't want that in, but he wants him to read and analyze the legal document in his 2 questions, but the government can't come back and ask him to do the same thing. And the judge agreed. He's like, yes, you can. You asked a question like that, so they can. So it basically just says, in order to tell the truth to the government, he would have had to notify Diddy first. And obviously you couldn't notify Diddy back in June that he was, or I guess you could, but I don't think he would have. His threads are disappearing. I don't know why that's happening, but it's like still, I can still get to it. Okay, objection. Yeah, someone said cooking. We have an update from NBC. Let's see what that is. If we can get some more details. Defense points out the NDA didn't prevent Garcia from speaking with law enforcement. This is a minute ago, NBCnews.com. Brian Steele briefly cross-examined Garcia, pointing out a line in the NDA that said Garcia was not prevented from speaking about the 2016 assault in legal proceedings. This was presumably intended to undermine the government's potential obstruction of justice charge, one of the predicate crimes that falls under racketeering. Prosecutors quickly took up a redirect, however, showing that the NDA also requires written notice to the company in those cases if they talk to law enforcement. It says this would allow the company to seek options to prevent disclosure. Garcia testified on redirect that he understood the company to be Diddy's company, an enterprise activity, if I do say so myself, in my opinion. Let's check out Washington Post. I like their details. Okay. Anne Brannigan, Washington Post. Lead defense attorney Brian Steele is now cross-examining Eddy, this is 5 minutes ago, a hotel security worker who testified that Diddy paid him and his colleagues to obtain what he believed was the only, what he believed, because they got some footage now, don't they? Was the only copy of footage showing the music producer physically assaulting Cassie. Brian Steele rose to fame as a result of the high-profile and very drawn-out Young Thug racketeering trial in Georgia, and was a relatively late addition to Diddy's defense team. He's the attorney we've heard from the most this week, even though we're in the prosecution phase of the trial. Steele delivered a long cross-examination of the pseudonymous Mia yesterday. Diddy Docket said it's not you, it's X. We're all following the thread, but it's kicking us off. Not sure if it's a Twitter thing. Yeah, it's Twitter. I'm trying to make it like the most recent. Everyone's having issues. All right. We got an update from CNN. Garcia confirmed he felt good about Diddy's transaction, even though he checked rearview mirror after meeting. Less than a minute ago, defense attorney Brian Steele asked Eddy if he got a good feeling about Diddy, who acted professionally in the transaction, even though Garcia testified he was looking out his rearview mirror to see if Diddy was following him. Garcia agreed. Steele then reviewed sections of the NDA that Garcia said he didn't read when he signed it. Steele honed in on the section of the NDA that included provisions for when Garcia could discuss the confidential information without it being technically a breach. A provision did allow for Garcia to disclose the information to law enforcement or other government bodies if necessary without breaching the agreement, but it required Garcia to notify Diddy's company. The non-disclosure agreement also included a non-disparagement clause where you can't say anything bad about Diddy publicly or whatever, or to a third party. Steele completed the cross-examination, and then Mitzi Steiner went back up for redirect. He followed up. So Garcia said he spoke to the police, but not the feds. After CNN publicly aired the video, he wasn't honest with the police. But then when the government prosecutors later contacted him, he was honest, he says. He bought a used car with the money from Diddy. Diddy had suggested that Garcia not make any big purchases. Diddy handed him $100,000, half of which he gave to his boss. He also gave $20,000 to a fellow security guard on duty. Jury is taking a 10-minute break. 11-minute break. They are going to resume in 11 minutes at 11:30 a.m. We'll try to modify replies to make thread easier to follow. Inner City Press says Earth Angel. We'll see when it starts. Thank you, Dashay. Or is it Dashaya? Dashay. It's got to be Dashay, right? Thank you, Dashay Jones, for the $10 super chat. Thank you, Hibiscus Rose, for the $9.99. Well, you look pretty, feel better. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shout out to Erica Bouquet, becoming a new member. Thank you, Morgan, for the £5 super chat. Love your information that you provide us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to Bad Pink Tink. The YouTuber is Armand Wiggins. Is it really? No, I need the proof. Thank you for the 2 oilo. That's how I like to say euro. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to Work on Your Business for the €23.99 /oilo. Wishing you a speedy recovery, and thanks so much for doing this daily for us. You're the best. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Shout out to Mary Quinlan. Always in the chat supporting the channel. Thank you for the $19.99 super chat. Thank you so much, BJ. Hope you feel better soon, y'all. I'm struggling. Thank you, Rachel, for the $1.99. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Rachel Pruitt said, not me repeating "god dang" in my daddy's accent. Got my god dang. Yeah, exactly. I know. Sometimes it just comes out. Thank you, Mercy, Miami. Shout out to you becoming a member. Thank you, Rosie, for the $9.99 super sticker. Armand was in court today, so it can't be him. Y'all don't be making up. They making up fake news. Not confirmed it was Armand. Okay. Y'all can't be spreading the fake news through here. It wasn't. I don't think it was him, y'all. I was shocked when I heard that. I don't think it was him. Y'all stop. Y'all don't. Like I said, I'm sick. I don't think it was somebody that we've heard of. I don't think it was one of these big ones. I don't think it's somebody that's like, even if you are a Diddy supporter, which I don't think that is him, he is a Diddy supporter. I don't really have time to watch his stuff. I watch Mim's stuff. I watch Tisa's, and then between that and then me, and I watch Rabbit sometimes when I can, her transcript stuff, and then of course Andy Popcorn Planet. But I don't have time to be watching a whole bunch of people. So right, cite your sources. They saying. That's why I said. People keep saying donut, but I don't want to say that either because I don't know who that is, first of all, and I need receipts. Alexis is like, put some respect on his name, because actually I just saw a video of him outside of court being run down by some crazy lady. What happened? Styled by her, Meekness said what happened. So there was some people that were run out of the court this morning. Well, one person was kicked out of court because she was causing a scene, screaming about Diddy. It's not fair what they doing to him. But another person who wasn't in court this morning, the prosecutors got the judge to say that that person's not allowed to come back in anymore, styled by her, Meekness, because this person was in court yesterday, this YouTuber, I guess, and they went on their YouTube channel and said Mia's real identity and her real name, which was against the court order. So that person's not allowed to go back in court anymore. And I was like trying to be, I'm trying to be messy. I'm like, who's the YouTuber? And people were throwing in, guesses and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. There was a crazy lady in the background yelling at him. She recorded the argument. Where is Jag? Somebody said. The level of depravity in this man's life. They saying it's true. Kiki Chanel 333 said that is true. A lady was harassing him. And I believe it because I've seen those people outside of court. Whenever people are saying, do y'all want, you should go to the court. What, you couldn't get in the court? Somebody was, I guess, trying to be cute yesterday. What, you couldn't get into the court? How could you get in? I don't know if I'd make it back to New Jersey with how those people are acting. I have no desire. There should be consequences for it. It should be. She was screaming she wanted to go viral. Oh, my Lord, y'all. Send thoughts and prayers to them. They are all obviously possessed by demons. Shout out to Aisha. Thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. Oh, my God, look at your hair. It's so pretty. Wish my hair would be bigger like that. Like just fuller. It's like they are harassing people. It's true. There's a special place in over. No, Armand is not kicked out. I don't know why that got started, that rumor. Somebody had put £1.99 in the chat and said it was Armand. I didn't ever think it. As soon as I said it, I said I need a link. I need some proof. Because I didn't ever think it. This is what he's doing like every day. Why would he risk getting kicked out of the court? Why would he break a judge's order? I mean, again, like I don't really follow his stuff. I do know he is one of the people in the court. Shout out to him. Shout out to anybody that's in the court every single day. That is hard. It is very difficult. I really got to tip my hat to everybody in the court every single day because that is hard. And then you're going live after. Oh my God. Going live for me is a full day of work. So I'm just going to sit right here. Okay. Former head of finance for Combs Enterprises will be the next witness, everybody. Derek Ferguson, the former head of the finance department for Combs Enterprises. Oh, we're getting closer and closer to Lou Taylor. I mean, I'm starting to feel like she ain't even gonna get mentioned in this trial, which makes me feel like the whole thing is rigged. But maybe she has her own RICO coming up soon. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. They certainly hadn't asked me. Christy Slavic is going to be the one questioning Ferguson. Let's see, does Diddy docket have this person's picture up? Yes. Derek Ferguson, former chief growth officer and former chief financial officer of Combs Enterprises. He's going to be a witness for the prosecution today. Shout out to Diddy Docket for this website. Look at that. Then we got Bonna, Enrique Santos, another Jane Doe who has a flight to catch next Thursday. Diddy, let me put y'all's Diddy Docket buy me a coffee. Let me put Diddy Docket buy me a coffee link for their hard work. Y'all just be making stuff up. Somebody said, did someone say Mark Leta's there? I doubt it. I doubt it. Thanks so much, Monica Gilbert, for the $1.99 super sticker. LaCajun said, Felicia, he's not. That's my cousin, y'all, LaCajun. LaCajun, that means little, okay? In Cajun, that's how we say it. LaCajun. Make it make sense is in court. I know. Shout out to him. Going live is Auditing While Black. Hold on. I need to go to your channel. Auditing While Black said, going live is definitely very draining. Yes, it is. Bootleg critic said, Diddy paid folks off in the 90s and he's trying to make history repeat itself. Erica said, we're going to see receipts showing Mott's applesauce, Johnson's baby oil, and Glade candles. Holland Renee said, bring in the money, people. We know all the dirt and where the skeletons are hidden. Yes, money people, bring them in, bring them in, bring them in. Gene said he neck grabbed somebody. Oh, my Lord. Thanks so much to Tab H for the $10 super chat. You're doing a fantastic job. I adore your delivery. The gasps are so awesome. They're just so authentic. The backstory, teaching us all day long. Exactly. I'm trying to teach y'all all day long. And when are they going to bring up Robin Greenhill? Cecilia wants to know. I want to know too. Shout out to Virginia Martinez or Martinez. Which way you say it, girl? Thanks so much for the $5 super chat. They just making stuff up. They just making stuff up in my chat. Y'all see them? Thanks so much for the $5 super chat. Ashley said KK needs to be subpoenaed without being offered immunity because, whoo, child. And I bet you that's why we haven't heard from her. So we're going to have to wait till we actually hear from somebody in the courtroom. People are just saying any and everybody in here. They're saying it's not Armand. Leave him out of this. I listen to him every day. He has never exposed her identity. I would be shocked to hear that. Blair Edwards. Yeah, LaCajun, they saying that one that you mentioned in had said Mia's name. I don't know if I'll be sure is testifying. Oh yeah, Simone is her name, right? Minding my money. Girl, is that legal? I think is the name of her channel. She's also been in court. I do shout out to everybody that's been in court and stuff, but some of these folks, like the way they get on, Nancy Grace and TMZ so fast kind of makes me a little bit like, But girl, I mean, maybe they got managers or something. What about the stuff found on the devices? Rain, it's a good point. What about all the stuff they found on those videos? What about all the stuff they found on the devices? What about the pictures? What about the videos? What about the hard drives? What about the surveillance footage from the house? All that stuff. Shout out to Oklahoma Outlaw in the chat. His link, if y'all appreciate his hard work, his link is down below, along with some of the other mods. Christy needs to send me her link. Still waiting for hers. Can't get over that orphanage he went to. Me neither. I got a video coming out about that. The Roz Rodriguez said, I cannot imagine how those hotel rooms were smelling. The crazies are coming out of the woodwork for this trial. There is so much misinformation going on. Yeah, I got a video about that coming out tonight on BJ Investigates. Sharifa, or is it Sharifa? I got a cousin named Shari. Yes, KK knows where all the bodies are allegedly buried. Bring KK to the stand. Do we know any of the defense's witnesses? No, I don't. Maybe some people do. Katie text said, your hair is beautiful the way it is. Very lovely the way it is. Be proud of the beautiful long hair. I know, but hers was really long too. Thank you. No, it's not JLR. He don't go into the court. I think people should dress up like Tupac and Biggie and Kim Porter, somebody said. Simone, that's her name, Lizzie? Simone. Girl, is that legal? I think that's her name, yeah. Let me show y'all her channel. I think she's a lawyer. Again, y'all, I mean, a lot of these folks, I would definitely be watching probably their videos, but I'm just doing this so much all day. I have my little people I watch, and then, girl, is that legal? But this lady is in the courtroom a lot too. Attorney Simone. There's her page right here. So she's been in the court. Is she going live? Yeah, she's been going live. So like 12:30, she's gonna go live at the lunch break. So yeah, she's in the court too. She's in the court too. There's a lot of different people in the court each and every day. Some people go every single day. It's just Twitter. Okay, so I'm looking at the drama going on with Livy's like, please stop acting like DJ Academics leaves his house. It was, oh man, I don't know. He was in the court this morning, they said, Aisha. Thanks so much for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Monica, for the $1.99 super sticker. Shout out to Tab H for the $10. Love from Yvonne in Glasgow. You the best. Thank you so much for the £1.99. Thank you to C. Coelho. I'll be sure said he was subpoenaed. He did? Oh my God. Well, then maybe he is going to be testifying. Uh-oh. Shout out to Auditing While Black. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you, Shannon Walters, for a $2 super chat. Tasha K might have done so, but it was a man that was barred from the courtroom, so I don't think that counts as for her. Celebrity Scandalous said, I was there first 2 weeks. Going back, but girl, is that legal has done reality TV. She's very well known. She also did Don Lemon Show. Right. So some of these people probably got managers and stuff. I'm not very well known. I'm just a girl on the internet. Okay. So that's probably why I don't get invited on Don Lemon. Thank you for the $5 super chat. And shout out to you going every day to court for 2 weeks. That is exhausting. Shout out to Vic's got an opinion, gifting a membership. I heard I'll be sure say he was subpoenaed. Green Eyes said, bless up BJ Mods in the chat. Yep, the links are linked below in the description. I don't know who we is, Blair, but I certainly don't. I find him to be. I mean, he's probably my cousin. He's from Louisiana. It's probably my cousin, but I don't particularly find his stuff to be like, it's kind of dry. He's kind of too corporatized. Like, I need a little bit more authenticity. Oh my God. TMZ has the video up with the crazy lady. Oh my Lord. Okay. So Inner City Press is like, okay, the Diddy delirium is too much for Twitter. Haven't been doing anything differently today. Maybe increasing the volume of replies is leading to this. For that reason, I'm going to try with more limited replies. As a free speech press fan, I've resisted this. So he's like allowing everyone and anyone to reply. It's frustrating. It's been suggested I try limiting replies to make the threads work better. I'm thinking of trying that. Unfortunate that it would happen at this time. I think he should just keep on going. I think he should just keep on with that same thread. We can refresh. It's not like we can't refresh. That's what I do. It's not the first time this has happened either. Okay. Oh my gosh, y'all, look at this. A minute ago from CNN.com, ex-finance chief's testimony could be key to proving racketeering conspiracy charge, legal expert says from CNN. With the prosecution still thin on their racketeering conspiracy argument. I mean, according to who? Because I don't think they're thin. I think they've done a great job laying out a lot of the racketeering stuff, and they're just marching ahead on it. However, according to the CNN legal experts, the prosecution is still thin on racketeering conspiracy argument, but the testimony of witness Derek Ferguson, former Diddy finance head, could help shore up their case against Diddy. Misty Maris, a trial attorney and CNN legal analyst, said. She said the jury has already heard about the predicate crimes, which means what is the racketeering activity? She added the jury has also heard false imprisonment, forced labor, and arson, and presumably we're going to hear obstruction of justice. However, she notes the jury hasn't heard what is this criminal enterprise. I mean, I think that they have heard about the criminal enterprise, KK, the bodyguards tracking down the head of Bad Boy Records or whatever, coming and tracking Cassie down and saying that he can only do so much as far as what Diddy's letting him do. And everybody conspiring together to make Diddy happy. But this legal analyst is saying the jury hasn't heard what is this criminal enterprise? What are the methods and the means? That's how it works in layman's terms. So I'm looking to hear, she says, from Derek Ferguson, another witness today, who is the head of finance for Combs Enterprises, and he held that position. This legal analyst explained that if you go back to the criminal indictment, prosecutors said all of Diddy's businesses, all of them, were really just fronts for this racketeering conspiracy. So will that piece, what is this criminal enterprise, be built in with the witnesses we hear today? Remember, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, to convict someone of racketeering, prosecutors must prove 5 different criteria. Number 1, that a criminal enterprise existed. Number 2, that the enterprise affected interstate commerce, so it went across state lines. Number 3, that the defendant, Diddy, was associated with or employed by the enterprise. Well, they've already shown that. The enterprise is Combs Enterprises. Number 4, that the defendant engaged in a pattern of racketeering activity, and that the defendant participated in at least 2 acts of racketeering activity. The minimum sentence varies by jurisdiction and severity of the crime, but convicted racketeers also can face fines. Okay. Just looking through. So they were supposed to start back up at 11:30 a.m. It is now 11:40 a.m. So I'm assuming they're getting back started. Oh, we have 4 new updates from Washington Post. We can read those while we wait. Oh, Lord. Tuck in your freaking shirt. This one right here needs to wash that. Probably stinks. Oh, my God. Okay. 21 minutes ago, Ann Brannigan, Washington Post, said Diddy leaned over the defense table and looked intently at a monitor on his lawyer's desk while prosecution and defense teams were in the sidebar discussion with the judge. The monitor contains a live transcript of proceedings, including sidebars, which are drowned out by white noise. So Diddy's leaning over and reading what the lawyers are saying at the sidebar. 16 minutes ago, Janice shows back up. Girl, the outfits are getting less cute each day. She getting tired or something. She's been a regular presence throughout the trial. She was spotted coming into the courthouse Tuesday in gold hoops, a striped button-up top, and an embellished black jacket. Justin Combs also popped out of that same van. I wonder what that book is. Striped dress shirt and black tie to sit in on the trial Tuesday morning. Walking next to him is Charlucci Finney in a Free Puff hoodie. He's described himself to press as a friend of the family, but I think he's a security. Okay, 9 minutes ago, Eddy Garcia has concluded his testimony, and the court was on a short break. Until 11:30. It is now 11:42, so the short break was supposed to be over 12 minutes ago. Okay. Well, we're just waiting here. Thanks so much to Kim Mistry, Chemistry. Oh, I get it. For the $1.99 super chat. Thanks for giving it to a straight no chaser. Thanks so much. Vic's got an opinion. She said, I hope it was don't act. That was thrown out. That's mean, huh? Oh, well, I still hope it was. I don't know who that even is. Y'all all have opinions about him. Thanks so much for the $5 super chat. Thank you, Sunflower, for the $4.99 super chat. I sent you a photo on Instagram yesterday from Mariah. It's Diddy related. Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you, Sunflower, for the $4.99 super chat. They did not arrest Janice. Y'all, okay. New rule. If y'all are blatantly shilling a fake news without any links or without any according to such and such, and you're just saying I saw, you getting banned. Okay, you getting banned. So I just can't have the fake news originating in my chat. It's just like I'm allergic to it. I just can't. All right. What are they freaking doing in here? Nobody's telling me. The break was over 13 minutes ago. Okay, I'm about to look it up. Let me see. You, man barred from court, Diddy, YouTube, Mia, identity. USA Today has something about it. Hold on. At the top of the day, the prosecutors told the judge that somebody who had been in the courthouse yesterday had used his phone to broadcast from the trial and used Mia's real name. So this is somebody who did a YouTube video from the trial outside the courtroom, and it's a man. He was in court yesterday, but this morning he wasn't in court. The former assistant testified under a pseudonym to protect her privacy and safeguard against retaliation. The individual went on his YouTube channel and used Mia's real name there as well. Prosecutors said, alerting the court in case he showed up to the proceedings again, the person has been entirely banned from the whole courthouse. Woman, it says taunts Diddy in a courtroom, but no, that she wasn't taunting Diddy. She was a Diddy supporter, and I am very suspicious of USA Today for not reporting it accurately. But it's interesting because it seems like Diddy is still somehow able to pull strings, make it seem like he's being made fun of. No. She stood up and shouted, Diddy. He turned around and looked at her. She did not taunt him. She said, it's effed up what they're doing to Diddy. Everyone's laughing at you, and it's so messed up. Prosecutors, don't forget, prosecutors want to use Diddy's jail phone calls. They're trying to use some of the phone calls that Diddy has made from jail as evidence, including audio that includes Diddy allegedly planning an extensive social media campaign around his birthday in November last year to generate publicity and shift the narrative. AstroTurfing is shifting the narrative. If you haven't watched my AstroTurf video on BJ Investigates, it is required viewing. It shows you what is AstroTurfing, how it works, how it's evolved, and all of that. And I have a lot of examples. Lawyers for the government say they want to use the prison calls, the jail calls, as evidence to help corroborate Mia's testimony that Diddy used his birthday to generate publicity. And that was the aim when she recorded a video wishing her former boss a happy birthday. Prosecutors are likely hitting back at an argument that Diddy's lawyers made on yesterday. Mia still had a warm relationship with Combs after he allegedly physically and sexually assaulted her. So they said, Brian Steele tried to assassinate this woman's character by saying why did you do this? Why did you do this? Why did you do this? So the government wants to offer up these jail calls to show exactly why. I mean, if they were going to take this long ass break, I feel like they could have just went on lunch. It's aggravating. Garagos tried to shift the narrative for the diddler on his birthday. Don't forget that. I think, okay, Pessa said, I think TMZ, People Magazine, and Us Weekly are in Diddy, the Kardashian, and Lou Taylor's corner. That would be interesting. New York Post doing anything? Yeah, they are. Oh man, it's hard to keep up with all these AstroTurf bots inside my comments. Do you think they will charge the YouTuber with a crime? I don't know. Thanks so much to Kel on Earth for the 99-cent super sticker. I would live stream this, but yeah. I slept. Yeah, you can't live stream if there's court order. TMZ is definitely in Diddy's pocket. Shamika Lachey's effect said. Keyword, Sony. The money tracks. Who makes these publications? Their profit. Yep. Who makes their profits? Yep. It's very interesting. Thank you, Lady Red, for the $5 super chat. Thank you. Thank you. If you gotta go, you can head out, Monica. No worries. All right, we got another update from CNN. Combs faces a racketeering conspiracy charge. Here's what the prosecution has to prove. Diddy has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering, conspiracy, ST, and transportation to engage in prostitution. I think also forced labor. Isn't that one of the charges? If convicted on all counts, he could face up to life in prison. The federal government has used racketeering to go after a dozen college athletic figures and test administrators in the largest college admissions scandal ever prosecuted. They've used it to go after former, or I guess current President Donald Trump, but in the time he was the former president, and musicians like R. Kelly and Young Thug. So what exactly is racketeering? Simply put, it means engaging in an illegal scheme. It's used in the RICO Act to describe 35 offenses, including kidnapping, unaliving, bribery, arson, and extortion. You know who else is facing these charges? Big U. Blakey, who has helped draft racketeering laws in at least 22 states, added racketeering is not a single criminal act. The prosecutors have to prove a pattern involving at least 2 instances of racketeering activity to convict someone. It's not a specific crime. It's a way of thinking about prosecuting a variety of crimes. Attorney G. Robert Blakey told CNN. They need a criminal enterprise. Enterprise affected interstate commerce. The defendant was associated with or employed by the enterprise. The defendant engaged in a pattern of racketeering activity, and there are at least 2 requisite acts of racketeering activity. We have a new update. The judge is back on the bench. Derek Ferguson is going to be called. This was a 11-minute break that turned in to like 15. Oh, I can't like them? Oh, no. Okay, there we go. All right. So restarted new thread. Now video fight. Inner City Press is covering the trial. And will live tweet. New thread below. All rise. Let's bring the jury back out. 2 minutes ago. I'm going to enter a stipulation into evidence during a search. Okay, here we go, y'all. During a search at Miami Airport, law enforcement seized 2 cell phones from Christina Karam. Publish that for the jury. It says 24 contacts, including Eddy My Angel and his phone number. Eddy My Angel, friend, Intercontinental. There was also a photo of IDs on the device, Your Honor. So this is the feds. They're finally entering in some devices. Hold on. We got an update here from Intercity Press on the other thread. Note, today's thread continues and has been restarted, limiting replies to make the thread work better. Here's the new thread. All right. Okay, so Derek Ferguson is expected to be called to the stand. That's this guy right here. Former Chief Growth Officer, whatever the hell that is. That sounds like something you need to go to the doctor for. And Chief Financial Officer. So former CFO, the money guy for Combs Enterprises. Now there's another person in this position today. Maybe that one's going to be charged as I don't know, co-conspirator. I don't know. Maybe he's going to come too. So there's 2 phones. Looks like before they even get the jury back in. Nope, the dury is back in. The assistant U.S. attorney said, I'm going to enter a stipulation into evidence during a search of the Miami airport during the search at Miami airport. Law enforcement took 2 cell phones from Christina Karam. In one of the cell phones, it says that there were 24 contacts, including Eddy My Angel and his phone number, and Eddy My Angel, friend. So 2 contacts in here. One says Eddy My Angel, and one says Eddy My Angel, friend, Intercontinental. Also on that same device, there was pictures recovered, and pictures on the device were people's IDs. Okay. So that's what we got so far. I don't know what took them so dang long on that freaking break. CNN, NBC. They just stopped talking 42 minutes ago. New York Post. Washington Post. Okay. Here's the Independent. Court resumes. The judge has called the jury back into the courtroom after a short break. The break was long. Derek Ferguson is now set to testify. This is the former lead finance guy for the Combs Enterprises. Just waiting for a new something. Okay. We're also entering into evidence records from Signature Bank. Any objection, the judge says? No. Brian Steele, I guess, or I don't know who's going to be cross-examining this guy. We're going to find out who on Diddy's team is the money person, though, I guess, based on who's going to cross-examine. With that, the government calls Derek Ferguson to the stand. How do you know? How do you know Diddy? I worked for him from 1998 to 2017. This man knows where every body is buried. Gotta be financial body. It's a figure of speech, y'all. Innocent until proven guilty. But he worked for Diddy for like 20 years. 1998 to 2017. I'm telling y'all, he should have never got that tattoo. In 2017, he got that tattoo and his whole world fell apart in short order. We got a new update from NBC. Derek Ferguson takes the witness stand. The government called Derek Ferguson, the former chief financial officer of Diddy's Enterprises, to the witness chair. Wearing a suit and tie, he received a subpoena to appear in court today. One new update from Washington Post. Anne Brannigan. She said just now, court is running a little late after the mid-morning recess. Diddy sat in the courtroom the entire time. At one point, he was the only person at the defense table where he shuffled through his papers and wrote some notes. Most of the attorneys are back now, milling around. Diddy has been in an animated conversation with his lawyer, Nicole Westmoreland. We haven't heard much from Westmoreland. She was a later addition to Diddy's defense team, and she's only cross-examined one witness, former Danity Kane singer Dawn Richard. CNN has another update. Diddy's former head of finance says he's testifying in compliance with the subpoena. Prosecutors have called Derek Ferguson, the former head of finance, to the stand. He said he's testifying in compliance with a subpoena. He said he worked for Diddy and his companies from 1998 through 2017. Definitely getting off to a slower start. This is the earlier thread. Hold on. I got to make sure I'm clicking on that right thread. It gets confusing when there's two. All right. That's the most recent. We called Derek Ferguson. He worked for him for like 19 years. Yeah, no, a lot of stuff where y'all are hearing and seeing, it's fake. Like a lot of stuff like, oh, the feds came to such and such. They arrested Janice Combs. And I have a whole video about it coming out today. Ready to kick your roommate. I don't know what that is. Yeah, the tattoo. Exactly. Maybe that's his co-defendant. Pisces Psyche said. Still waiting for something new. Looks like New York Post might have a new one. Diddy's longtime exec takes witness stand. This is New York Post. Derek Ferguson, a longtime employee at Diddy's company, has begun testifying. He worked for Diddy from 98 through 2017, including in the role of chief financial officer at Bad Boy. He is testifying after receiving a subpoena. What was your role? He said, CFO. How were your bonuses determined? Derek Ferguson, former CFO, says company results. My bonuses were determined from company results and my performance. Were you responsible at any point for managing Diddy's personal finances? Yes. At times during my tenure, I was responsible for managing Diddy's personal finances, says Derek Ferguson. Yep, exactly. Lizzie said, interesting timing. He left right before 2018. Yeah, in 2018 is when everything hit the fan. Kim Porter passed away. Cassie broke up with him for good. In 2018, she met her now husband. A deity called Urzuli. That's interesting. I mean, look, listen, I don't know. All I know is that entity is supposedly a protector of women and children. And as soon as he got that tattoo, it started hitting the fan. It all started unraveling for him. I mean, I don't know what's the holdup here. It's like, what are they doing? What have they been doing really for the past 40 minutes? Okay. Who was your supervisor? Sometimes it was Mr. Combs himself. How often did you interact with Diddy? He said a couple times a week. Later, he became more of a chairman. And how did you communicate with Diddy? He said back then we used pagers. So, like, I guess he's talking like 1998. Less than a minute ago, CNN.com. Prosecutors have called Derek Ferguson, the former head of finance department for Combs Enterprises, to the stand. He said he's testifying in compliance with a subpoena. He said he worked for Diddy and his companies from 1998 to 2017, and he was the chief financial officer at Bad Boy from 1998 to 2012. Okay, so chief financial officer at Bad Boy from 1998 to 2012. He said his responsibilities included setting budgets, accounting, and record keeping. Is he the one they're sending in and so that Lou Taylor doesn't have to take the fall? Hold on. He also said part of his responsibilities were being involved in some joint ventures and strategic partnerships. Ferguson also said during different periods of time, Diddy's personal finances would also be part of his responsibilities. This was from CNN.com. Just now, we got a couple updates here. 2 updates from Washington Post. 1 2 minutes ago from Wesley Parnell. Eddy Garcia's number was saved in the phone of Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Karam, and it was misspelled as Eddy, my angel. Garcia, a hotel security worker, who says Diddy paid him and his colleagues $100,000 for a video of Diddy beating Cassie, testified that the music producer repeatedly called him his angel and told him that God had put the two of them together. But when Garcia asked Diddy for help finding work after he handed over the video, Diddy apparently did not respond to his Instagram message. The government has called its next witness, Derek Ferguson. This is 1 minute ago, Anne Brannigan, Washington Post. He held several executive titles at Diddy's companies, but this included chief financial officer from 1998 to 2012. Wearing a dark suit and glasses, Ferguson told the jury he is testifying under a subpoena. Here's what we know about the Intercontinental Hotel surveillance tape. CNN published it, multiple camera angles, March 5th, 2016 is apparently the recording date. In it, Diddy can be seen grabbing, shoving, kicking, dragging, kicking, and throwing things at Cassie. At one point, he's seen grabbing her by the back of the neck before throwing her to the floor and kicking her motionless body. What witnesses are saying, Cassie described the hotel altercation during her testimony. She said she was having a freak off in a hotel room with Diddy and an escort, Jules. The escort was in a separate room in the hotel suite when Diddy hit her. After it happened, she said she grabbed her belongings and ran out as fast as she could. She said Diddy then followed her into the hotel hallway before grabbing, throwing, kicking, and dragging her, as well as taking her belongings. Eddy Garcia, who testified today, former security officer at the Intercontinental Hotel, testified today in court. Diddy's personal assistant called the hotel security desk after the incident, asking for a copy of the footage. Diddy later personally asked Garcia over the phone to provide him with the video, and he would take care of Garcia, the former officer testified. Garcia's boss, he said, agreed to give Diddy the video for $50,000. Diddy then had Garcia sign an NDA with $1 million penalty for breach, declaring that that the provided copy of the video was the only one in existence. Why is it being shown in court? After numerous attempts to exclude the footage, the judge said it could be shown. Joey Jackson, CNN legal analyst, said that the defense is going to try to question whether this video actually shows the charges that Diddy is facing or whether it's just merely a simple, harmless domestic assault incident. Okay. Next question. Who is this? And it's a picture of Uncle Paulie shown. And Derek Ferguson said, that's Paul. What about these individuals? Derek Ferguson said, that is Roger Bonds. That is D-Rock. They were security. And was Mr. Combs the sole owner? Yes, he was 100% owner of Bad Boy Productions and the films company. And who was your supervisor? He's like, sometimes it was just to Mr. Combs himself. I would communicate with him a few times a week. Okay. Thanks so much to LTD for the $9.99 super chat. Cousin, sending you coffee, hugs, and beignets for the day. Yes, Slay. I need a beignet. I need two. So proud of you. And you are what you are doing an amazing job keeping us educated and aware from cousin Trosclair out in Beverly Hills. Oh my God, yes, Trosclair. I know you, my cousin, that French ass last name. Thank you for the super chat. That tattoo is like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah, it's like a tattoo. Here today said, I think Puff is hiring homeless folks to make a circus out of court and inside. And it is working because it is intimidating, because it makes me afraid to go over there because these people don't know how to act. So it is intimidating people. It is like public intimidation. Meaning he's a goody two shoes. I don't know who's the goody two shoes. Oh, this guy? Okay. What was his role? I guess Mr. Combs. Creative and marketing. Ooh, now we're getting, y'all want to talk about an enterprise? Y'all want to talk about an enterprise? Okay, no problem. Did some of these ventures have partners, Mr. Ferguson? Yes. Bad Boy Records was a partnership with Arista, also with Warner Music. Sean John Clothing also had a partner. Who? I want to know. What were the profits? Very profitable. Because who else are they going to bring up in here? Bonna, didn't she work for Sean John Clothing? Oh man, look at that. That drawing. It's like taking forever to get these questions out of this man. I mean, Head of finance is testifying. Former head of the finance department. He worked for him for a long time. Almost 20 years, 19 years. And this is him right here. Derek Ferguson. It's just taking forever. Arista is L.A. Reid's, or is it Clive Davis? I think it's Clive Davis is Arista, but LaFace is L.A. Reid and Babyface and Clive Davis, if I remember correctly. Jim said she thinks Twitter is playing up. This is going to be so good. Lucian Grange of UMG. Diddy is the fall guy for Clive, Lizzie Kellogg is saying. And that's interesting because of Cassie saying the Prince party. Is that around the same time that Whitney Houston died? Okay. How was Diddy paid? This guy worked for Diddy as the CFO from 1998 to 2012. How did Diddy get paid? Sometimes he got a salary. Sometimes it was distributions from the companies. What is a distribution? Well, if a company is solely owned or a pass-through like an S Corp, the owner determines to draw down. Okay, so a distribution is like when the company makes money, you get a certain portion distributed to you, and it's based on the company, and you have a little discretion versus a salary, which is an amount. No matter how much the company makes, you're going to make that money. Did each company have its own bank account? Yes, said the former CFO. He said this is 2 minutes ago, NBC News. Derek Ferguson used to be the chief financial officer for Bad Boy Entertainment, says he sometimes reported directly to Diddy. He told the court he held many roles working for Diddy between 1996. Oh, 1996? It was 8. So NBC, again, the outlier, reporting something that the other outlets are not reporting. Everybody else is saying it 1998. Now they say 1996. But everybody else is saying 1998, so we'll still go with that. He went into detail on his role as CFO of Bad Boy Entertainment. He handled budgets and salaries. He was involved in deal making. And at times, he was responsible for Diddy's personal finances. He told the court that he mainly reported to whoever served as the president of Bad Boy Entertainment. At times, there was no president. And at those times, he reported directly to Diddy. Could you sign on the accounts? Yes, he had the permission to sign documents and things for the accounts. Which banks did the Combs companies use? They used Citibank, HSBC, and Signature Bank. And what's this one? Oh, this one is Janice Combs Music Inc. This furnished Diddy's name and likeness. So who furnishes Diddy's name and likeness is not Sean Combs. It's Janice Combs Music Inc. Why would that be? Very interesting. Now we're getting into some follow the money. It is really like a slow drip coming out of this courtroom today. I mean, after all the shenanigans this morning. Could you sign on the accounts? Yes. Which banks did you use? Citibank. We need a Diddy docket to start a new tab up here with all the different things that's been named, girl. Like this right here. Who because I forget it. This one. Did some of these ventures have partners? Yes. Bad Boy was a partnership with Arista, also with Warner. Sean John Clothing also had a partner. They were very profitable. And then here, which banks did they use? Citibank, HSBC, and Signature Bank. Watch them bring in some bank people. BC said Janice better start sweating. Faisal said, I feel like today in general has been off. Me too. Oh my God. Here's the AstroTurf. Everybody shame the AstroTurf. This is how I know. This is how I know whenever somebody's a plant, whenever they act like I've never talked about white people in my life. Like, did you miss the whole Lima saga? You missed Mark Leta. You missed Mark Soft White Underbelly. You missed Steve-O. You missed Paramount. You missed Johnny Knoxville. You missed who else have we gone for? You missed all the Margeras. You missed Krusty Lynn Margera. You missed who else? Adam Grandmason. Oh, wow. How could I miss Adam Grandmason? So this is how I know when somebody is an AstroTurf plant. What about Garth Brooks? What the fuck about Garth Brooks, bitch? You tell me the fuck about Garth Brooks. Is there a federal RICO trial going on right now? Right now, live, there's a federal RICO trial? Because if there is, I'm happy to start covering it because we got free time. Anyway, I don't actually care. You're banned. AstroTurf bot, get out of here. Anyway, I think it's racist when people say that you can only cover people of a certain race. Didn't we have like whole civil rights movements and stuff to like not judge people based on a race? I do understand there's absolutely prejudices and there certainly is racism. But I think it's racist that Diddy has all these alleged so-called victims that are black and women, and you're not allowed to speak up for them if the accused is black. Something is seriously wrong with y'all. You need a brain scan. And I'm not playing that. I'm done playing that. I stopped playing that about 2018 or something. I'm just sick of it. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. We got a new update from CNN, but it's just the AstroTurf bots. I mean, somebody is pouring millions of dollars into bots. It has to be. VP said as a CPA, I already know what's coming. Clive Davis is Arista. Clive Grubby Fingers are all over MJ, Whitney, Corey Gamble, and has been reported by Diddy as a mentor. It's stupid. It's so stupid. I'm over it. I am freaking over it. Over it. I'm completely, entirely over it. Thanks so much to Measured Man for the $5 super chat. Don't bother with them. You're not biased. You cover what is the news and you call it out. Let it go. Exactly. Thank you, Measured Man. Shout out to Doree Angel for the $2 super chat. Is there anything regarding SEC violations? I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't heard anything about that. And I don't think the SEC is involved here. Thanks so much, Daphne, for the $2 super chats. The bots are irking you too. All right. Ex-Combs finance chief testifies that early on he interacted with Diddy regularly. When he first started at the company, he said he interacted with Diddy pretty regularly, a couple times a week. As more professional management was brought on to run the company, Ferguson said his interactions with Diddy became less frequent. Who's the more professional management? Is it TriStar Sports and Entertainment? I gotta know. Ferguson said that at certain points during his tenure, he reported to the company president. But when there was no president, he reported directly to Diddy. Okay. Oh my gosh, y'all. Woo! Oh my God. It's like we're getting right in the era of the Britney conservatorship starting. Oh my God. Okay. Mr. Ferguson, are these your initials in section 4? He said, yes. This was September 29th, 2009. Is this also a business checking account? Yes, this is a business checking account. What about this one? He said that one was with Diageo about Ciroc. How was this account funded? He said inflows. Now, I am not a CPA. I'm not an accountant. Okay. But I think this just means like stuff was coming into the account, like profits and things coming in. What's an inflow? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. I'm looking it up. A large amount of money. This is the definition. A large amount of money, people, or water that moves or is transferred into a place. So large amounts of money were getting inflowed into Diageo, Ciroc bank accounts, I guess. What about credit cards? Ferguson said primarily American Express and expense reimbursements. Okay, did Diddy have an Amex, an American Express card? Yes. Did he use that card for personal as well as professional use? Yes. So that's commingling, all right? That means now if he's the 100% owner, I think that's like in some ways a little bit more acceptable. However, not on the ones. I don't think on the ones. I don't exactly know. I need an accountant on here. Did he use it for personal as well as professional? Yes. And the companies paid for his personal expenses on those cards. Like, did he pay for it out of his own salary, his credit card, or did the companies pay for it? The companies, racketeering enterprise being established, in my opinion. The companies is not a personal credit card if the company is paying. New update from CNN. Okay. Ex-finance chief testifies he and Diddy were signatories on the company bank accounts. Derek Ferguson, the former head of the finance department for Diddy's enterprises, said Diddy and he were the signatories on business bank accounts during his tenure with Diddy's companies. The prosecutor is reviewing bank records for various business bank accounts for Diddy's entities. Oh, we already read that. Let's see. Have anything new here for the last 20 minutes? Yeah, we do. 3 minutes ago, WashingtonPost.com, when Derek Ferguson became Diddy's chief financial officer in 1998, he testified that he was very involved in the company and they spoke regularly. His business expanded into a constellation of companies, ventures, and partnerships during Ferguson's employment, which lasted until 2017, but as the CFO, he was only working there till 2012. Okay, so these companies included Bad Boy Productions, Bad Boy Marketing, and Bad Boy Films. These are the ones that were solely owned by Diddy. At times, Ferguson testified he was also in charge of Diddy's personal finances. Diddy always drove the creative marketing and product management of his companies. But in time, he became more of a chairman than an active manager. Most of his businesses were profitable, the former CFO said, and Diddy drew simultaneous salaries from several of the companies. So he was getting salaries from Bad Boy Productions, Bad Boy Marketing, a salary from Bad Boy Films. And this is all legal. There's nothing illegal about that, especially if he was using the salaries to pay his personal expenses. But we were just told by this testimony that the businesses paid the personal expenses if he ran them on his credit card. Is that the most recent? The company. I guess they're probably just showing like a lot of exhibits because it feels like it's like dragging a little bit. He interacted pretty regularly, a couple times a week with Diddy. As more management was brought into the company, who the interactions became less frequent. At some points, he would report to the company president. And when there was no president, then that's whenever he would report to Diddy. That's the most recent tweet still. What about the credit cards? Primarily, he used an Amex for personal as well as professional expenses. And yes, the company would pay. Lovely ladies, gardening projects, and more said Rico is proven, in my opinion. That's all she needed to hear. How was outgoing cash handled? 13 seconds ago. We had a petty cash account. We also had cash advances, for example, for those traveling who didn't have the Amex cards. Okay, next question. So when Diddy was paid in cash, how did that work? We would match it if a contract. I don't know what that means. But we're getting a few more questions just trickling out of here. Oh my God. VP said, I used to have a client that paid everything with company credit card, but he wasn't Ricoing, just financing his side piece. No legit inflow of cash. Business doesn't support the inflow. Laundering. Okay, Bobo. Whiskey Fox said, I bet he put that cash in the brown bags. They would recon it to the contract. What'd that mean? Recon. Thanks so much, Kate. Oh. Kate, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Allegedly, Cassie took the F off money when she ran to the elevators. Oh. Doesn't justify beating, no mention yet. Yeah, I mean, if this hasn't been mentioned yet, I think the ship has sailed to mention it. I mean, they should have mentioned it at any point before. I don't think it'll help the defense if they can't bring it up, because how are they going to say that? Unless Diddy's going to come up and testify. I mean, that would be I wouldn't even be that shocked. I actually think he's going to testify. I'm like 51% he's going to testify, 49% he's not. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Amber. That's my mama. Thank God she's in here. Y'all need to start slamming down the hammer on people. I'm going to have to relieve these poor mods of some of their. I'll have to get some more mods added on the roster because it's just too much to do out here. Y'all don't know how to act in the chat. Thank you, Amber. TSW for the $10 super chat. Oh yes, keep queening in the Queen's Court. Shout out to Oklahoma Outlaw. Another mod in the chat. I know I did see Diamond Rainbow. There she is. Links are down below. Reconcile. Okay, Simply Dolores. Thank you. We got the finance people in the chat. I'm like, recognizance, what? So we would try to see if we could reconcile that cash amount with any of the contracts. So if we could match up the contracts coming in, leaving out. All right, we're getting somewhere, y'all. This is going to be tedious testimony because this is finance stuff, but this is like a lot more of I get more into this stuff. I like to follow the money, even though obviously I don't know how to be an accountant. I still do like to follow the money. Were you aware 1 minute ago, Inner City Press, were you aware Diddy's security staff was carrying cash for him? No, I was not aware of that. Okay. And when were you responsible? Or when you were responsible, excuse me. When you were responsible for Diddy's personal finances, what did you do? You know who's probably responsible for the personal finances now? It's probably Lou Taylor, if I had to guess. Or somebody over there at TriStar. If I had to guess, I don't know. We have to find out. Hopefully. I can't wait till they finally mention her freaking name. If she doesn't get mentioned and TriStar doesn't get mentioned at all here, they better. Like in the trial, not like here today. When you were responsible for Diddy's personal finances, what did you do? I made a budget for the year. What about the properties? I would account for the inflows and the outflows, meaning money coming in were these rental properties, and money, being paid, rent, mortgages, rent, et cetera, I'm assuming. Correct me if I'm wrong. Finance people in the chat. Simply Dolores. Or who else was it in the chat? We do have some VP. Lizzie said, cleaning out that rug money. Lynn said, okay, let's be real. It's just BlackRock exposing him because he tried to sue the company that owns Ciroc. That owner is ex-intelligence officer for the government. Oh, probably so. That makes sense, truly. They own nothing. It's all fake. I do believe this. Money is fake. I bet Diddy outs them, Empowered Wendy said. I wonder if one of the rental properties was the one Britney Spears stayed in for Bridges to recover him. And I just wonder. Maybe she take away all her possibilities so she hide from him like they stated. Maybe. Aw, shout out to Mog. The vibes are not very spicy today, Jade Alicia said. Okay. Derek Ferguson describes how Diddy would use his corporate card. Former chief financial officer for the record label said most senior executives at Bad Boy had an Amex corporate card. Ferguson testified that Diddy would charge business and personal expenses on his card from time to time, and he said members of the team would determine which business or entity to charge pertained to, and then use that business's account to pay off the charge. Paying performers in cash was common practice in his early years working for Diddy. The former chief financial officer, paying people in cash. This is what they're going to start looking for. How are they laundering the money? How are they washing, cleaning the money? In a RICO, this is something that I think is going to come into play in a substantial way. Derek said cash payments were an industry norm 20 years ago whenever Lou Taylor and Diddy got their start. It was not uncommon, especially in his early years. Performers would be paid in cash, and a performer's manager would at times bring cash to the finance department to be processed. So, 1998, I don't know who Diddy was managing at that time. Bad Boy Records, let's say it was, 96 instead. Let's say Biggie did a show, he got paid $40,000 in cash or something. They would bring the $40,000 into the finance office. So just having a lot of cash around was something that would happen. Ex-finance chief testifies he wasn't aware Diddy's security carried cash for him. Said he wasn't aware Diddy's security carried cash for him, saying it was not something I paid any attention to. During his tenure, he said there were periods when third parties were engaged to handle Diddy's personal finances. I wonder who those third parties were. I wonder if the third parties have 3 stars in their name. Other times it was internally managed. One new update from NBC, charting out the trail of money. NBCnews.com. Although most of Ferguson's early testimony has just been procedural, it is potentially crucial to the government's case. He's been asked to verify a laundry list of bank accounts, real estate holdings, credit cards, and other financial records connected to Combs Enterprises and confirm that the defendant had signatory power over these funds. Though most of the headline-grabbing testimony so far in this trial has dealt with the sexual abuse and other incidents and alleged acts of violence, Diddy's real problems would be any evidence that he might have run a criminal enterprise to pull off these suspected crimes. Show me the money. Okay. Oh, now we're getting into the properties he owned, money people. Anybody following the money getting excited right now? What properties did he own? The Hamptons, New York, Miami. They were held in I think it's LLCs for anonymity and liability reduction and tax benefits. Did you ever see other personal accounts of Mr. Combs? Yes. Ooh, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. Were you aware of him supporting other people? Yes, he supported people from his personal earnings. The assistant U.S. attorney said this might be a good place to take a lunch break. He said he wasn't aware that Diddy's security carried cash for him, and it wasn't something that he paid attention to. saying it was, quote, not something I paid any attention to. During his tenure, he said there were periods when third parties were engaged to manage and handle Diddy's finances, and other times it was internally managed. Okay, we saw that. New York Post. Okay, they broke for lunch. They're going to come back at 1:15. So the judge has taken away their long lunch break. He had originally made the lunch break longer, but he took it away. He's back to like 30, 40-minute lunches. Let me see if they're going to be fighting over anything first, though, before I log off. Y'all are giving Inner City Press hell over his threads, acting like y'all can't just refresh. Poor guy. His link is linked down below. Y'all better go support him if you can. I'm just waiting to see if they can argue about other stuff first. Mrs. Mack said, definitely interested in the financial stuff. MB said, they sure is shaping this RICO. The prosecution has had years to draw this case. They know what they're doing. They're just peeling back the onion layer by layer. You think? Clive Davis, smash that like button. He was in a dark place. Oh. When does Lou Taylor get called out? I'm wondering if she's ever going to get called. LCCs are for homes. I got to ask my husband about it. I think it's LLCs, y'all. I think it's LLC. Yeah. You protect the asset. Using mama as a front as well. These assets can't be taken because Janice owns them. That's okay, Diamond Rainbow. Diamond Rainbow just arrived at the doctor. No problem. You can head out whenever you need to. Thank you, Smooth Jazz, for the $1.99 super chat. Thank you, SB. Shout out to you. Member for 6 months. Thank you, Chana, for the $5 super sticker. Thank you, SB, for the $5. I'm on the edge of my seat too, cousin. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Shout out to Nadia. Caesar, or is it Kaiser? You say Caesar, huh? Thank you for the $2 super chat. I'm wondering if they're going to win. Are they going to get the Kardashian church that launders money? I don't know if it launders money or not. Innocent until proven guilty. Thank you, Rachel, for the $2 super sticker. Slam the double tap your screen or go out, come back after slamming. Who is Louis Taylor? I got some videos and some playlists on that. Okay, she has about 20 more minutes left on this guy's direct examination. Jury was dismissed for lunch. One new update. The courtroom will empty out for a lunch break. The judge told everybody to come back at 1:10. Okay, so 30-minute lunch break. Prosecutors say they're going to have 20 more minutes of direct questioning for this CFO. And I mean, this is a pretty credible witness, right? I mean, the only thing that's kind of not credible to me that he said so far is he didn't know that Diddy's security carried cash for him, but maybe he was just like so out of the loop. Who is this guy? Like, I want Diddy Docket to make a thread on him or something. Okay. Judge says, how much more with this witness? 20 minutes, we think. And Jane, starting late tomorrow, we expect 2 days for her cross-examination. Jane Doe is going to be on the stand for 2 days, just getting yelled at by Diddy's lawyers, okay? And if Diddy's cross-examination if Diddy's okay. So we're getting some details here before the lunch break. Jane Doe, another victim. I think it's maybe victim 2. She's got an international flight out of town on next Thursday. So that's in like 10 days or something. 9 days or 10 days. So she's going to get on the stand tomorrow. Late tomorrow, she's going to start. She said, we expect 2 days for cross-examination. And if Mr. Agnifalo's cross-examination goes long, Agnifalo is going to be cross-examining victim 2, aka Jane Doe. Thank you, Rachel, for the $2 super chat. He looks important. and dressed up in a business suit. Love and Happiness said. Let's see. So 20 more minutes with this guy, and then we're going to get this guy, I believe, Frank Piazza. This one right here. Forensic audio video expert. This guy is supposedly supposed to be coming up today as well. Now, then I think it's going to be Bonna, maybe Enrique. I don't know if he's going to come next. And then Jane Doe. So Jane Doe is going to be tomorrow. Jane Doe, victim 2. This one's going to be another one like Mia, where we are not allowed to say their name and stuff like that. J Doe said, I ain't no victim Doe. I hear you. I hear you. There's a lot of issues with calling people victim. But as far as the government is concerned, they do call them victim, statutory victim. Reconcile, Gail said. Reconcile means reconcile the cash to the contract. So, okay, we have $50,000 coming in cash. What was that from? Oh, let me find the contract. Okay, yeah, there was a contract for $50,000 to try to match it up. No, Gene as victim 3, alleged victim 3. Yes. Twisted Cookie Monster. I'm wondering if the MCA payola has never stopped being tracked. I sure do wonder. Okay. And then Mr. Agnifilos goes long. We're going to have to stay after. We're going to have to stay till 4:00 today. The judge said, okay, that's fine. Like and support Inner City Press if you can. I'm going to send y'all the link in the chat. I think KK flipped, somebody said. Where? What photo? Where's her photo? Shout out to Mary Pratt. Love how you presented your channel. Thank God you are not playing over here. I'm not playing. No, back alley scam chats. TriStar was not mentioned. No. I'm not to my knowledge. Unless somebody knows something I don't. They make you look like a dirt bag if you don't flip. Well, Empowered Wendy, what photo are you talking about? What photo are you talking about? Let me look it up. Christina Coram. I don't see anything about a photo. Let's go to Washington Post. Just want to make sure we get everything before we leave out of here. One new update on CNN. Okay, these are the next witnesses prosecutors intend to call to the stand. Maureen Comey asked the judge to keep the jury past 3 today, if necessary, to make sure that Derek Ferguson can finish today. Comey said, the prosecutor said, forensic video expert Frank Piazza would take the stand tomorrow morning, followed by Brianna. Okay, so today we're going to basically have Derek Ferguson finish out. And Frank Piazza is going to take the stand tomorrow morning. I think probably they had him working on the issues of the video that they had earlier this morning. And then tomorrow we're going to hear from Brianna Bongolan. This is the one that apparently, I guess, was dangled over a balcony. She also sued Diddy herself. Jane, one of Diddy's accusers using a pseudonym, is slated to testify after Bonna tomorrow afternoon. Maureen Comey also said Jane's direct examination is going to take at least 2 days. At least 2 days. And then the cross-examination is going to probably take 2 days also. The judge said he'll let the jury know that they may need to work past 3 p.m. during Jane's testimony. Okay. Because remember, she has that whole trip out of the country planned. The jury is on a lunch break. Here's the latest from the court. Derek Ferguson, who worked for Diddy as his head of finance for his companies, took the stand. Once Eddy Garcia's testimony concluded, Derek Ferguson went after Eddy Garcia. Here's what he said. He worked from 1998 to 2017. Up until 2012, he served as Diddy's chief financial officer at Bad Boy Entertainment. He said his responsibilities including setting up budgets, accounting, record keeping, and being involved in some joint ventures and strategic partnerships. When he first started with the company, and Ferguson testified that he interacted with Diddy pretty regularly. Their interactions later became less frequent. Personal mixed with business. He would swipe his business card for personal expenses. He also testified that the finance department managed finances for the properties that Diddy owned in Miami, the Hamptons, and New York City. He also testified he knew that Diddy would provide financial support to family and friends through his personal salaries and distributions, and Ferguson would sit down with Diddy at least once a year to review his personal finances. Selma said, even if she flips, I am still going to side-eye her. Okay, so I don't think Bana is a statutory victim in this case, but I think she is going to come in to show the larger pattern of racketeering activity and to bolster some of the things that Cassie had said. I know, rest in peace, left eye. Okay, y'all, so I'll be back in about 30 minutes or so, a little less than 30 minutes. I'll be back around 1:15. It's 12:50 right now. So I'll see y'all in the next one after I get a little break. That's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither are opinions, and neither is reading stuff that's public in the public record. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.